This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
Just one place sold the most Acura models in the last 17 years. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Drive a new 2025 RDX $419 a month during our 17th anniversary sale.
When presenting an award to an employee, athlete, executive, or fantasy GM, make sure you call Orvieto's Awards and More. For 35 years, these custom award specialists have been providing plaques, trophies, custom framing, while providing state-of-the-art laser and computerized engraving, UV printing, and glass crystal etching. They do all their engraving and printing in-house for quality control. Call Charles at 305-949-8098 or visit them at orvietosawards.com. Orvieto's Awards and More, where recognition is rewarding.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them.
With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation.
Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
Just one place sold the most Acura models in the last 17 years. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Take $10,000 off a 2025 Acura MDX during our 17th anniversary sale.
It starts every morning before the sun comes up. Projects are laid out. Plans are made. Equipment is fueled and loaded with inventory to handle all service requests. Orders are given to an army of skilled landscape maintenance professionals, certified arbor trimmers, irrigation technicians, and licensed pest management experts who fan out to communities and businesses all over South Florida. Experienced, on time, and dependable. Our staff is fully trained, licensed, and insured. Contact us by phone, email, social media, or through our website to answer all your landscape questions. We are Cutter's Edge. Total Landscape Solutions.
When it comes to your smile, confidence is so important. At Moody S Dental, they provide the services to get your smile back. This family-run practice prides itself by offering the latest technology to give your family the best experience possible. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years with offices in Hialeah and Plantation. They accept most major dental insurances. They provide free new patient exams, 20% off select treatments. To qualify, please follow us on Instagram at moodys.dental. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years. To schedule an appointment in Hialeah, call 305-821-0231 and Plantation 954-692-6825. From Invisaligns, dental implants, same-day crowns, and the preventative care and preservation to get your smile back. Go to moodysdental.com to find out more and tell them Big O sent you.
Friends, Romans, and countrymen, epic deals await you at Toyota of Hollywood. You don't have to battle to get discounts of up to $4,500. Your chariot awaits. A Toyota Corolla, not $24,000, $19,988. Step into our arena where everyone is victorious at the #1 volume Toyota dealer, Toyota of Hollywood, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
After 40 years, the Big Cheese Miami is still producing great Italian food. They started in 1984. Since then, they've been winning awards while being voted the best inexpensive Italian restaurant in Miami. Visit them for great food, amazing service. Witness the decades of Cane's memories. The walls are like a Miami Hurricanes Hall of Fame. The Big Cheese delivers anything on its menu or party platter menu to your home, office, or even a park for a picnic. Located at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue, Miami. Call 305-662-6855. TheBigCheeseMiami.com, where they serve large portions at family prices.
If you're looking to take your home or business to the next level, then RM Contractors can assist you. RM specializes in new residential turnkey, new commercial turnkey, home and office remodeling. Call them for free estimates. Serving all of South Florida, licensed and insured. Call Ray, 305-345-3649. You work hard to create the perfect atmosphere. You dream it, we'll build it. RM Contractors, 305-345-3649. Or Instagram at RMC Fisher Island.
Before you buy or lease a Honda, Volkswagen, Hyundai, or any other model, compare Subaru, rated #1 in safety at Subaru of Pembroke Pines. Buy with 0.9% financing, 0 down. Forester with symmetrical all-wheel drive, $259 a month. Crosstrek with symmetrical all-wheel drive, $239 a month. During the Subaru A Lot to Love event at Subaru of Pembroke Pines, South Florida's #1 volume Subaru retailer.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
Hi, this is Jeff Welt from Welton Rayom. Dan and I have been in business together for over 22 years. We're not your typical lawyers. When Dan's not working in the office, he's flying his stunt plane. When I'm not in the office, I'm either getting tattooed, bowling, riding a motorcycle, or going to concerts. We might not be your typical attorneys, but we are aggressive attorneys, and we'll do whatever it takes to get you what you deserve. Consultations are always free. Call us anytime, 24/7.
Welton Rayom can help.
Just one place sold the most Acura models in the last 17 years. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Drive a new Acura ZDX, $439 a month during our 17th anniversary sale.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website.
All righty. Welcome aboard, boys and girls, to the lively Hialeah Park. I always love it when people worry about us doing live shows in different places. Hey, but there'll be noise. And I'm like, bro, don't worry about me. I'll be just fine. I've done shows in strip clubs. So right now, Harold is holding court because they got it going on here at Hialeah Park. As always, they've got the $100,000 bad bet going on right now, all day, every day. If you lose 4 quad jacks to a straight flush, $100,000 bad beat. 50,000 goes to the loser, 30,000 goes to the winner of the high hand, and 20,000 to the rest of the table. And they also got the Aces King Royal Flush promotion going on. It's up to 101,000 today. They add 1,000 every single day. So they've got it going on here at Hialeah Park, and that's where we're at. It's Tuesday, 2 o'clock. We switched it from Thursday to Tuesdays now. And instead of 3 o'clock, we're on an hour earlier at 2 o'clock. So there you go, ready to rock and roll and have a little fun. Especially since last night I had a blast, man. I mean, I had a good time last night. That was fun. That was it was enjoyable. I mean, the only person that may have had more fun, maybe not. I don't know. Does Jordan Hudson get him to that point last night after the game when they're alone at the home? Because she had to make Grandpa feel a little better. So, I mean, listen, the old man goes home with that every night. So he's doing all right. You know what I'm saying? For a 75-year-old geezer, he's got himself like the hottest woman on the planet. He's like 75, right? Or something like that. Somebody won a lot of money right now, by the way. But anyway, last night was fun. I mean, listen, I've been telling you this is going to be a train wreck. I have not believed in the whole UNC thing and Belichick. I've been very open about it. And last night was just, and a theme on this show has been live betting, hasn't it? And we do it through the Hialeah website. You can go through here if you don't have a betting app. They partnered with the Hard Rock app, but you can actually go through here. And they'll have player options and offers for you there too at the same time. So I was on their app, and let me give you a little thing on live betting. Okay, we've talked about this. This is how I worked the game yesterday, and it was either way I would have won because it didn't matter because the score was, my God, it was 48-14. So TCU was favored by 3.5 points to open the game. Okay, I love TCU in this game. And I love that North Carolina will suck this year. So I said to myself, hey, self, I don't like the half point, which really didn't matter in hindsight here. But, okay, I don't like the half point. So let me see who's going to get the ball. Notice all the steps I took, okay? So just in case you guys want to do this with an NFL or a college game when you're right teetering. Okay, so the line's at 3.5. And I go, okay, let me see who's going to receive the ball. If TCU receives the ball, I'm going to place the bet right now, put in the 3.5 points, lay them, even though I'm not a big fan of it, but I'll lay the 3.5. I wanted 3, 2.5, whatever. That's fine. I'll lay the 3.5, and I'll take the money line, which I believe it was minus 120 at that moment. Okay, so I was going to take both because I liked TCU in the game. So I see that North Carolina receives the ball, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to hold off here. I'm going to see what North Carolina does with the ball because if they drive, the second it crosses midfield, the algorithms start to lower the points on TCU. And sure enough, they crossed midfield. They went down to 3. They went down to that next play where they were down like by the 20 or whatever. It went down to like 1.5. And then they scored, and it went TCU plus 2.5. There was a moment of plus 3.5, and I hit it, and I didn't get it in time. It went away, and it blank. You know how it blanks out with the locks, and it blanked out the locks. And then it came back plus 2.5, and boom, I laid it. And I go, all right, here we go. And I put even more money on it because I'm getting 2.5 points. I know I'm down 7. I understand. The rest of the media world are like, oh, Belichick's start is off with a boom. I'm on the other side of the thing going, this is the best thing that can happen. TCU will come back and beat their asses. Their offense is like most of their guys are back from last year. In fact, weren't you just talking about this, that they had 70 new players? UNC has 70 new. You know how hard it is to develop chemistry with a whole new roster? Meanwhile, TCU's got a lot of their guys offensively coming back. Did you notice? I'm like, dude, this is a gift. But you know how the fair-weathered media is. They go with what's going to stir your emotion. For me, it wasn't about what was stirring my emotion. It was like, dude, this is value. And right there, I took TCU. I took the money line. The money line went to plus 110. So I took TCU plus 110. I took TCU plus 2.5. Didn't end up mattering, but at least on the plus 110, the payout is different than minus 120. Right? You're going to get paid a little bit more in plus 110 than minus 120. And that's where you've got to use live betting to your advantage. You've got to be patient sometimes and wait, because you might be able to get a better deal. See, now with the Dolphins, let's say the Colts march downfield immediately and score. I'm not putting more money on the Dolphins. So, by the way, I want to thank the Canes. I want to thank TCU. Free Bitcoin. Love you. Love you, brother. Love you. I want my bets on the Canes. I want my bets on TCU. And I got me free Bitcoin 2 nights in a row. And I think we shot up to 111. So we got a little bit of a dip, and we took advantage. We're at 110.6. But the stuff we got was in the 108, 109 area. So love it. Love it. You'll love it at Levitt's. Anyway, so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And I tell you because it's good experience for you on how to play the live game and how to try to manipulate it and use it to your favor. Now, as long as you believe in the team and you're convinced. I was convinced that Miami was ready to win that game 2 nights ago, and I was convinced that TCU was going to handle North Carolina, because I just don't think North Carolina – I think this is going to be a mess. It's going to be a train wreck. It just is. And by the way, why don't we do this? We got to find out our MVP of the night, right? Because last night was pretty good. Let's get to our Moody's Dental MVP of the night.
Who's last night's MVP? There's only one MVP for your family's dental care.
Moody's Dental. Get your smile back at Moody's Dental. Visit them on Instagram at moodys.dental.
Here's our Moody's Dental MVP of the night.
I'm going to give it to Kavorian Barnes. Now, he's going to be like that person that comes up to the podium and they had some help and they thank people, and you got to thank that offensive line. You got to thank that you have a competent quarterback. You got some good receivers like Jordan Dwyer that can make some impact for you. But Kavorian Barnes pounded them 11 times for 113 yards and a touchdown. TCU rushed for 258 total yards in that game. They punished UNC. I mean, absolutely punished UNC on the ground. It's a beautiful thing. When you can run the ball and you can control the clock, you can force your opponent to play your game. And that's exactly what North Carolina had to do. They couldn't stop the run, and then the quarterback, when he had to make throws, he definitely made the throws. But it all came from the fact that they could line up and punch UNC in the mouth and punch the defensive genius that is Bill Belichick and fool his ass where he was on the sidelines absolutely clueless. So, Kavorian Barnes and that running game, I got to give it to you, bro. Moodius Dental, if you're looking for whatever it is that you need, Invisaligns, dental implants, preventive care, cosmetic surgery, you want to get your smile back, call our friends at Moodius Dental in Hialeah, 305-821-0231. Implantation, 954-692-6825. Kavorian Barnes, our Moodius Dental MVP of the night.
The MVP of the night is brought to you by Moody Dental.
From Invisaligns, dental implants, same-day crowns, and the preventative care and preservation to get your smile back. They accept most major dental insurances. They provide free new patient exams. To schedule an appointment in Dade, call 305-821-0231. In Broward, 954-692-6825. Follow them on Instagram at moodyass.dental, providing MVP smiles every day of the year.
All right. Good stuff. Thank you all out there. Remember, you can make a donation to the show, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. You can make a Bitcoin or Ethereum, Chainlink, Solana donation, which we always appreciate that. You can send in your questions, your comments, your insults, all kinds of good stuff. We always appreciate that. Caneswear, proud sponsor of our program this month. Sergei Bobrovsky is going to be signing autographs in 3 weeks. Sunday, the 21st of September, 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Canes season is in, by the way. I just got this shirt at Caneswear, 10% off. Love this shirt. And by the way, it's this like this cotton. I don't know how. Can you explain this cotton? It's like some light, like it breathes well, man. Oh man, it is sweet. Can't explain it. I don't know what the hell it is, but it feels really, really comfortable. You can get this. They got like over 100 Cane shirts. They got jackets. They got jerseys. They've got Miami Heat gear. They've got Panthers championship gear. You can buy all kinds of Panther stuff. Some of you can have Sergei Bobrovsky sign, take a picture with him, all that kind of stuff. Matthew Tkachuk will be there October 8th next month, 6 to 7:15 p.m. And use our code BIG010, whether you're online at caneswear.com, you can get 10% off, or in person, you can get 10% off. Tell them that I sent you. They will take care of you. Last night was fun, bro. It was just a lot of fun to watch Bill Belichick flop, to watch him fail. And I've been steadfast on this. You know, people tell me about their NIL and they're doing this and that. Look, let me tell you something. And this is something if you're a South Florida fan and you've been one for long enough, you've seen this before. It's just the way it goes. If you were in Dallas, you saw it. There are times that it just happens and you can't do anything about it. And it's not your fault. Times change. People change. It moves on. Things evolve. And you don't. And when you don't, things pass you up and you stay behind, you know, and that's what's happening to Bill Belichick. And it's been happening for several years now. And without Tom Brady, he has gotten just severely exposed. He was a failure many, many times over the last 10 years in personnel. It was well documented how terrible he was in personnel. He would make up for it by picking up free agents that were failures in other places. And a blessing to him, he was able to see players in pro systems instead of the college and figure out their real strengths and weaknesses at this level and say, well, I can use that for this here for me and this scheme for that or this. But you also, the players change, the game changes, and then you don't adjust. And we saw it here with Shula, where the game was changing. They added the salary cap. He couldn't figure out the defense. He could never figure out a running game for Marino. He was already failing as a personnel person. The game was passing him up. By the way, I don't know if you want to call it ignorance or is the game passing them up. What do we do about the Heat? Do we just give them a break because they refuse to tear down? Because that's what everybody will tell you. Everybody that covers them, we refuse to tear down. Or is the game passed you all by too also? Because that's how you do rebuild in today's NBA. You tear down, collect picks. Yeah, you got to be bad, but so what? You turn it around like Houston and OKC. Don't point at Philadelphia like that's the only failure. I mean, that's the one, the outlier out of it all, or the main thing or something. No, others have success. If you know what you're doing, you could have success. Boston collected a bunch of picks, and they had success, and they finally won a title. I mean, it can be done. It should be done. So has the game passed Riley and the Harrisons by? That's what we're watching right now. That's what we're watching. And what you're watching last night was Bill Belichick and the game passing him by. It just happens, man. It happens to all of us in any walk of life, in any kind of career or whatever. We all get to a point where we're not adjusting to what's going on. And then that's when you pay the price. And if you don't know how to use email, well, then you're not going to communicate as well as everybody else. And if you don't know how to work the web, and you're not going to communicate as everybody else. You're going to struggle with certain things. You're not going to be as knowledgeable as others. Why? Because you're not technically sound. You can't work anything. That hurts you. You know what I'm saying? So you have to adjust in life. You have to adjust in your business. You have to adjust in all of those kind of things. And Bill Belichick, you know what I was thinking about last night? The NFL was passing him by. Where do you freaking think college football is for him? If the NFL passed him by, college football is light years ahead of Bill Belichick. He's used to dealing with veteran players. That's what he likes. He doesn't even like rookies as much. So now he's got to deal with kids that are worried about their brand and whatever all they're thinking. Oh, my God. No way. This guy doesn't fit this lifestyle. So when you're watching this clown show happen and Jordan Hudson there and, after that first touchdown, Michael Jordan and they show Lawrence Taylor. I got to tell you, dude. Well, that brings me to Alarmo's back and our Sloman's key decision of the game.
What was the deciding moment? Who made the right move? Where did the game change? It's the Sloman's key decision of the game. Make the smart decision to protect your home and family by calling Sloman's at 1-800-ALARM-ME, serving Americans for nearly 100 years. Here's our Sloman's key decision of the game.
The key decision, I got to give it to the North Carolina program administration and board for coming up with the genius of hiring an over-the-hill, past his prime, Bill Belichick, who then brings a, tabloid-like existence with the gold digger, Jordan Hudson, who was all in her glory yesterday, hanging around. as people were, it was really fun watching those broadcasters. They were dying to praise the hell out of Bill Belichick. And, he started off with a bang and he's doing great. And then after that, they had nothing left. It was just fantastic. And I just want to thank North Carolina because we all need train wrecks to kind of entertain us. And if you didn't watch what was going on at the end of Belichick's run with the Patriots and you didn't think that was a train wreck, and somehow or another, North Carolina thought that he could actually be different than he was there when it's actually harder to run college football nowadays than the NFL. You have no offseason in college football. It's a young man's sport. We're talking about a 75-year-old man that probably has no energy left after 2 minutes with Jordan Hudson. North Carolina, I mean, scholars, you're not. Because any half-ass intelligent person could have told you Bill Belichick is cooked, history done in the archives, and way too freaking old to handle today's college football. If it was 30 years ago and 40 years ago when we were dropping off bags in the middle of the night and that kind of stuff, you might be able to get away with it. And if he was 30 or 40 years younger than he was now, maybe you get away with it. But now, at old-ass 75, the amount of time, you see what, anybody watch what Mario Cristobal does? That's what you're working against? A Cuban caffeined out head coach that doesn't stop? There's no way Belichick can hang with Mario Cristobal. You think he's texting the players? Technology? Yeah. Who's working that phone and that text better than Cristobal or old-ass Bill Belichick? It's a young man's game. I don't know what North Carolina University was thinking about, but things have changed, bro. College football isn't the same. Now you need somebody much more younger, much more vibrant to keep up with technology and the evolution of what college football is now, which it's a hell of a lot different, dude. This isn't the college football I grew up with. I'm nearly 60 years old. It's a different game. I can tell you people my age or older are not going to be able to hang with the youngins that you need now in basketball and in football. Let me tell you, can't do it in basketball either. No. With transfer portals and social media and all that, old people can't keep up with that. I'm being brutally honest here, okay? If you can't handle the honesty because you think, I'm old bashing. Well, bro, I'm nearly 60. I know what the hell I'm talking about. I've been around this business for 35 years, walking in the locker rooms and covering teams and talking to owners and players and coaches. I've done it all. And people like Belichick are not made for today's college football. Just not. Sloman's is made for you. The future of home security. You can imagine a home where all your smart devices work together seamlessly and effortlessly with Sloman's Shield Link. That vision will become reality, folks, from a single, I'm telling you, from an app that you can control all the lights, climate, door locks, music, blinds, TV, just about anything in your home, whether you're on your couch or on your commute, headed home, or even across the country. Shield Link, by the way, combines professional-grade security monitoring with cutting-edge smart home automation. Homeowners can lock doors, adjust their thermostat, switch the lights on and off, view camera feeds, and even create automated routines from a single dashboard. Reach out to our friends at Sloman's at 1-800-ALARM-ME. All-in-one control, advanced protection, 24/7 professional monitoring, personalized automation, And, of course, peace of mind anywhere. You can stay connected and in control no matter where you are. You can discover ShieldLink. It is coming soon. In fact, in 6 days, on the 8th of this month, is when they're launching it. And you can go to SlomansShieldLink.com. That's SlomansShieldLink.com. And make sure you tell them that Big O sent you. We are, I believe, in 13 or 14 states. Maybe 15 now. I don't know. But check it out. Might be in your state. And a pretty cool thing. All right. So, Bill Belichick and UNC is our Sloman's key decision of the game.
Our key decision of the game is brought to you by Sloman's Home Shield. When you want to protect your home, family, or business, call Sloman's at 1-800-ALARM-ME.
All right. Yes, sir.
The new AP Top 25 has been released.
I love it. And the Canes climbed to number, I'm going to go 7.
Nope, they won and they dropped 2. I'm just kidding. I saw the face like, wait, they did it to us again? Nope. The top 5, Ohio State, Penn State, LSU, Georgia, drum roll please, the University of Miami in at 5.
Wow, UM,
yes.
number 5 in the country.
And the former Mario Cristobal team, Oregon in at 6, Texas at 7, Clemson at 8, Notre Dame falls to 9, South Carolina in at 10, Florida State jumps to 14, Florida is in at 13, Alabama fell to 21, and I think that's about it.
That is awesome, dude. 5 in the country. That's pretty cool. 10 to 5. I like it. And you know you're not going to move anywhere this week because you've got a bye week. You're playing Bethune-Cookman.
The interesting part is, like, I remember college football used to be the first week was like cupcakes for everybody. I mean,
yeah. Well, it's changing because the schedule is mattering
number
now.
1 fall this week, 4 fell, 6 fell, and 8 fell. So in the top 10, 4 teams lost in week 1.
Right. Yeah, because the strength of schedule is it should have always mattered. I don't understand why. And they allowed all these powerhouses to go play 2 real cupcakes to start the year, and that was always a joke. So I'm glad that they're able to do that. Don't forget, you can make a donation to the show, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. And you can make a Bitcoin or Ethereum, Chainlink or Solana donation. You can send in your questions, comments, insults, maybe even a compliment. Holy crap, sometimes there's even a compliment in there. Stephen Baker, the touchdown maker. Thank you, sir, for the love on Venmo. He says, like you, an older dude, can't keep up with college football. Like the NFL, I root for a team. Players, coaches come and go. But on Saturdays, I bleed the real colors, orange and aquamarine. Go Fins, go Vols. There you go. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, as always, for keeping it locked, Stephen Baker, and supporting us. Let's hope that we can get a good Dolphin season is what we need. That is what we need. I don't know what's going to happen. That one's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. All righty. What else do we have? Mark Norcal, I see in. Lenny Pena. Jay Bird in the house. Cosa Nostra. True Fin fan. Pipe Man Slim. Appreciate you all out there checking in on the chat board. Thank you. Don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button, all right? We got 44 likes right now. Need to pick that thing up. All right, let's pick up a little basketball with the one and only Ira Winderman and our Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report.
Heat fans, time for the best insight of your favorite team with insider Ira Winderman, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. It's the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report. Here's Ira Winderman.
Ira, how are you doing, my friend? You doing good?
I am doing good, enjoying a little Euro basket. Wonder if I'm smoking too much of that Hopia, watching Nikola Jovic and Pelle Larsson, to a lesser degree Simone Fontecchio. But so far, it's been so good. It's, again, the depth of this roster is there, not the star, not the ultimate superstar, but you can see how there's a good feeling about the depth of talent. Now you have to turn that depth of talent into something more.
Yeah, it's the problem is, since it's Euro basketball, nobody's really going to take it serious in this country, and until you actually do it for this team in the NBA, that's really when you're going to convince people. And sadly now it's although you know what, I could say that. I could also say it's a beautiful challenge for this team now, because they're now kind of known as a team that maybe they're either a play-in team or they're playing out pretty much. And these young guys have to start kind of rebuilding, who the Heat used to be. You know what I'm saying? So there's a hell of a challenge for those young guys to grow up quickly, because Heat Nation, I don't think, is satisfied with what the organization has developed into now.
And it's really interesting because I had a chance to speak to Pat Riley on Monday about Mickey Harrison going to the Hall of Fame this Saturday. And it was a rare moment of candor when he said, look, we want to always contend for championships, but we also recognize you can't always contend for championships. You can't always go in thinking you're going to be one of the last 2 or 4 teams standing. That's so important for this team, to recognize that you can keep pushing that weighty ball up the hill like Sisyphus, but eventually you need more. You need to get the weight down on that ball, or you need more hands pushing back up the hill. If that's at least a move toward reality, Big O, it's a good step for this team.
It is. I like hearing that. You know why?
Mm-hmm.
It's the polar opposite of the Dolphins, my friend. Okay, so when the Dolphins, when they accomplish something, dude, we're talking, I was a kid. I was 7, 8 years old. This was 50 years ago. It was a long time ago. The Heat, see, the Dolphins can't, them pushing the rock up the hill sounds like something that's a fantasy, because they never get over that hill, because It's been half a century. With the Heat, they have a luxury, dude. The championships were in recent past. Recent. We all of us, young and old and everybody in between, experienced the Heat championships and the greatness. So the fact that you have to reset, that's what I've been saying. You're entitled to that. Now, if you're the Dolphins, you can't keep telling everybody, well, we're going to reset and we're going to reload and we're going to, well, that's all you people do. You know what I'm saying? That's different. With the Heat, they have to realize they've got the mulligan, dude. Can take it, dude.
And you know what? And I think that's what Pat Riley was talking about. And he was saying, if we're not there now, we will never stop trying to build toward that, which is all that you can ask. And again, if there is hopium, it's in smaller doses than it's been before, and that's a decent step forward to recognize what you are and what you aren't. As we've spoken on our Accurate Pembroke Pines report, finally, they only have 1 first-round pick outstanding instead of 2 or 3 like they've had in recent years. They have young first-round quality talent to develop. God bless all the Gabe Vincent and Max Struses and Duncan Robinsons, who you can take maybe from this level, a lower level, to a mid-level. Now they have that mid-level first-round pick that hopefully you can raise like Jovic, like Jaquez, like Yatrakonis, the younger players to that next level. So I think there is a reason for optimism there, unless you're going to bitch and whine every day this coming season, the Heat aren't going to win a championship this year.
Oh, they're not.
They're not. And don't expect them to be. Now, Eric Spoelstra will never tell you that on media day.
Of course not.
Pat Riley can't come out and fully elucidate that, but that's fine also. Build to something different, build to something better, but more important, the first word is what matters there. Build. As long as you are building, so you can see what comes next. The problem is the Marlins have had great young talent also.
Oh, God.
As soon as it comes contract time, they're gone.
Right.
You're not building toward anything.
Right.
The Panthers built toward Huberdeau until they couldn't build any more in that direction and flipped it for their next level. They built toward something. With Tyreek Hill on your roster, are you building toward anything, or are you playing out the string of that contract?
No,
that's the difference. So Say what you want about Bam Adebayo. I know what you think of super role player. Say what you want about Tyler Hero. I know what you think about not a max player. I do not disagree. But keep your chips in a maneuverable position so you can constantly keep building. When you backslide, and again, backsliding is not about record. The Heat could be a couple of games worse than they were last year or 10 games worse than they were 2 years ago. But can you see the future? That's the thing. Can you see better days ahead? You never see them with the Marlins because they're the Marlins.
No, it's funny. Like with the Marlins, what was the name of the kid? Stowers, right? The one that the failed first round pick that they got now. Right. And people are like, wow, this guy's developing. I'm going, yeah, he's developing so he can end up going somewhere else because that's what's going to happen. And when Sandy writes himself up and he starts pitching, they'll move him. That's
like Miggy Cabrera, like Josh Beckett, like history. So the difference is here. Whoever can establish a base with the Heat will be those baseline players. But establish yourself. Tyler Hero defend. Bam Adebayo become more aggressive. There is patience, but I think there's only a level of patience because you are paying players to be something, and if they're not, you move on to the next thing. And I think that's where we are right now. So, yes, it will be a prove-it season for Tyler Hero because I don't think he gets that extension in October. But you know what? It's a prove-it season for Bam Adebayo also because you have to decide if you're not at least a number 2, you can't get paid like a number 1. So I think all of that will be going on.
I brought something up before you came on because we've lived it and maybe we're living it again. I don't know, but you can answer whether it's by choice or by ignorance. I don't know what it is, but okay, last night, whether you want to say it or not, we're watching a man that the game passed him by. The game was passing him by at the NFL level. College in today's world is light years ahead of where it used to be, that a 75-year-old man is not built for college football, but whatever. For me, the game is passing him by, and it has already. We watched it with Shula, that he wasn't a good personnel guy, and then came the cap, and that really, the old man wasn't ready to handle how things change and all that kind of stuff. Are the Heat?
Yes.
You got to tell
you why.
You tear it down in Houston, you tear it down OKC, and I know they fail in Philadelphia and all that, but they succeed in other places with it. It's the way you build nowadays. And of course, the message has been clear and has been sent through all the writers and everybody that covers the beat. We are not the team that will tear it all the way down to be to the bare bones and be an expansion team and all that. We are not going to be that. So is that ignorance? Is that you give it by choice? Because the problem is nobody builds it that way anymore.
And here's the difference. Bill Belichick went into North Carolina to the Tar Heels program and said, I want to be king, my way or the highway. His old school way doesn't work. That's the reason he moved off Mac Brown in the first place. Things are changing with the Heat to the degree that, let's face it, and Pat Riley spoke about his relationship to Mickey Arison, and he spoke to us about how Mickey stayed out of the way earlier. And it was Pat Riley, really the Pat dictator to a degree. And that was fine for Pat Riley in 95. And he showed us he could do it with Morning, with Hardaway, with the deals he did, with getting deep in the playoffs, all well and good.
Awesome.
If you look at the Heat now, we all know, and there's nothing wrong with it, Nick Arison has a far greater role right now. Nick Arison is listed above Pat Riley on the Heat's hierarchy. Eric Spoelstra has personnel control in his Heat agreement. He's part of it. So is Pat Riley still part of it? Absolutely. But is Pat Riley all of it? No, he's not. And he'll be the first one to tell you. And that is very, very important. Because whether it's Andy Ellisberg or Nick Arison talking about the cap, the aprons, the luxury tax, it matters. Just like Bill Belichick has to learn a little bit more about NIL and today's modern college football world. Whether it's Pat Riley's personal assessment, it's not forcing anything on Eric Spoelstra. It's Eric Spoelstra saying, I can work with this guy. I can work with that guy. Yes, I love Drew Smith. No, I didn't love Hassan Whiteside, and working through that. And I think the equality the Heat have right now in their decision-making means it's not going to be Belichickian. It's not going to be Rileyan. It's going to be a more updated, modern day with a money side, with the assessment side, and yes, the cult of personality all matter. But the Heat culture thing, maybe step back a little bit and understand this is 2025, times change. I think Pat Riley recognized that. And you know what? I got to say this, Big O. You and I are a little older. We can be a little bit stubborn in who we are also. If you can be 80 years old like Pat Riley and not be stubborn, that's the difference. Bill Belichick stood on the sideline yesterday on Monday, and you saw a stubborn man, and you said, holy crap, this ain't going to work. When I look at Pat Riley now, which is really interesting, if he can evolve at 80 years old, I feel a lot more comfortable about where this is and where this could head.
Let's hope so. On the Eurobasket side, Pelle Larsson's putting up some numbers.
Yeah, again, he's not going to be the leading man he is in Sweden, where he's the best player in his country. Maybe, like, no offense to Jonas Jerebko, maybe one of the greatest players ever.
But hold on a second. That's actually a positive because they know he's the only one that can ball. He's the only one they should stop. And the SOB is still doing whatever he wants, which if you've watched Pelle Larsson, he's relentless. So I love that. I mean,
I'd like to see him win a little bit more so they're not eliminated and make the round of 16, which they still have a chance. But I will say this. There has been nothing since the start of the offseason, Summer League in San Francisco, Summer League in Las Vegas, Eurobasket with Sweden, that has dissuaded me at all from my opinion and everyone's opinion out there that Pelle Larsson could be a contributor this season. So it's going to be really interesting now. Does the team that invested a first-round pick in Jaime Jaquez Jr. truly afford open competition when it comes to that 8th, 9th man spot this year? Or do they still so want to make it work with Jaime and get him back to where he was? So like I said, the depth of talent on this roster I think is going to be fascinating. But Pelle Larsson is going to be a rotation player to contend with, because that's what you want as your 8th or 9th and 10th man. Someone who can do a little bit of everything and do it with effort and hustle.
Not only that, he plays the other side of the court. He plays it well. He's a defender, and they love that shit.
He's aggressive. I don't know if I call him a defender yet until the fouls come down. Now, granted, he's going to be playing 16, 18 minutes.
But my point is, it's just a coal that needs to be polished. But the will to play defense
and aggression,
it's there. It's natural. You can't teach that. You can't make any Tyler Hero. We cannot make him a defender. You can make Pelle Larsson a defender because he naturally already wants to attack you defensively like he does offensively. And I like that. I think there's a natural gift to him in that sense that you can, as a coach, I think that gets him to bump people in the rotation because I can count on you two ways now. I can count on you to maybe help me score, and I can also count on you to help me stop some people from scoring. That's why I think Pelle Larsson becomes one of those guys in the back end of the rotation that starts to climb up.
And more importantly, you can have confidence in to play at the end of games.
Yes.
Tyler, you don't necessarily have it. Jaime, you don't necessarily have it.
But
when you only have those 2 timeouts in the final minutes and you can't do offense, defense, back and forth, who's the player you feel confident that on both ends of the court won't hurt you? Well, Tyler, we know will. We saw what happened with Cleveland and other playoff teams against the Heat. Pelle, you can put in there and feel confident that you're at least going to get defensive resistance. So, yeah, that's the one thing I'll say. For a second-year, second-round player to be considered a closer, that says everything right there, Big O.
Yeah, fearless. He is fearless, and I like that about him. That is something you just can't teach. It's automatic. Right now, I would take Pelle Larsson over Jaime Jaquez right now. I would.
And it's going to make camp interesting, and I think you could be absolutely correct there. And just do they reach the point where they can say to themselves, hey, we know he's a first-round pick, but we've got to play our 8, 9 best players at the ends of games and play them in the rotation. Yeah, I think Pelle absolutely will be there competing for a spot. I agree.
What do we know about Ware's work this offseason?
You know, look, he's been in the gym.
We used to love about Zoe is that he would always polish up his game.
And he's gym ratting, but his skill set is still so unrefined. You know, some people have said to me, you got to send him out to Houston if Hakeem Olajuwon is still doing his drill work. You have to send him to a big man's camp. It's such a nascent part of Kel'el Ware's game. He first has to develop honestly, I know this sounds ridiculous almost, but some of the basics before you can get into that nuanced Hakeem Olajuwon post-play footwork kind of move. Let him get the basics down. Let him work with Zoe. Bam has been in the gym recently. Let him work with Bam. Malik Allen, let him work with the Heat people. Get him to the point where you can move more to the nuance. But here's the entire thing about Kel'el Ware, and we even saw it in Summer League. You've got to get that motor going every game, all the time, every minute. Right now, the Heat have 3 playable big men in the middle. Nikola Jovic, Bam Adebayo, and Kel'el Ware. Kel'el Ware has to be ready to go if there's injuries or foul trouble to someone else and to give you 35, 36 hard minutes a game. And you know what, Big O? I won't see that until the games start. First couple of games in Vegas, he was awful. Last couple of games, and Eric Spoelstra, gave his ultimatum, he was wonderful. He has to be not only an everyday player, he has to become an every minute player. Not all players become that. So you're talking skill. I'm talking something so much far rudimentary and basic. Effort all the time. Look, Hassan, if he did that, would have been a real player. But he couldn't. And so many players we've seen couldn't. Because you know what? Motor is not easy. And for some people, maybe people from Arkansas, motor is not innate. It has to become innate for Kel'el.
Well, it wasn't only with Whiteside, it wasn't only effort, it's also IQ. He also didn't understand the importance of, dude, you got to hold that pick just an extra half a second.
Hold the pick at all. He was rolling right away. Yes.
Right. Whatever it was, all the little things he didn't
wanted his numbers. Because he wanted his numbers. And the one thing from Kel'el, and I've spoken to him, and I spoke to him about all rookie and first team or second team, and he goes, I don't understand why that matters so much to people. And I think he is being candid and sincere when he says that. Hassan Whiteside would sit with a box score in his stall in the locker room, and if he had his triple-double, you wouldn't have known that he'd lost that game. Right. That is not who Kel'el Ware is. He's all in with his team. The Heat has gotten rid of the riffraff in the locker room. I do believe this is team all in together. Finally, what the Dolphins are trying to get to may not get to as long as Tyreek is around. I think the Heat are moving toward that. Kel'el Ware cares about team first. That's a hell of a first step for a player still that young.
And assistant Heat coaches also care about their female partners too, right?
See, I stay away from all this other stuff and let you handle all of that stuff because, thankfully I haven't had to deal with that. But Mr. Furonis, you can check the police blotter and let me know what the latest is.
The crow flies. That is the latest. All right, what do you got going on in the South Florida Sun Sentinel?
Well, it's interesting. The Heat released today that they're going to play their inter-squad scrimmage late in the preseason on October 15th. And then it opens your eyes to this. The Heat have 6 exhibition games, the most you can have, plus this inter-squad scrimmage in a 2-week period. And I've had someone already ask me if my Ask Ira mailbag for tomorrow, Ira, is it too much? And I'm like, no. Look at their opening schedule.
Yeah.
And not only that, but look at their opening schedule. They open at Orlando and Memphis. They come home to play the Knicks and the Hornets. Then they go on the road to San Antonio, Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets. This team, if they're not ready to hit the ground running, they will be underdogs in 7 of their first 8 games. Training camp matters. The preseason matters. That schedule to start the season is brutal. And you know this, Big O. After you've lost the most lopsided playoff series in NBA history, there's going to be seeds of doubt early. And if this Heat team does start 1-7, 2-6, maybe even 3-5, we'll be discussing it in our Accurate Pembroke Pines report, but there will be some head games at play also. So, yes, it's only a scrimmage. There are only 6 exhibitions. This team has to know who they are and what they are from the start because that opening schedule is unforgiving and only in 1 of their first 8 games are they going to be favored, and that's the home game against Charlotte.
I one thing I've always agreed with, well, many things I've agreed with Riley over the years, but one thing is you can't really play enough basketball in the off season to get yourself ready for the regular season, especially if you're a young guy. You just need a lot of fine tuning, and they've got plenty of legs, bro. And please, they pamper you and cater you, and this isn't the same like it used to be 20 and 30 years ago and 40 years ago. It's not as taxing on these guys. They can handle it, and plus they're young. So they need the playing time. So it's a good thing. All right. Follow them on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat and make sure you subscribe to the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Ira, thank you as always. Enjoy your week, sir.
Mickey Harrison go to the Hall of Fame on Saturday. We will rate his speech next week here in our Acura Pembroke Pines report. Thanks, Big O.
Thank you, sir. We will talk more Mickey Harrison next week as he becomes a Hall of Famer. Several Heat people are now Hall of Famers. That's pretty cool, man. That is very, very cool. Do we have any Marlins in the Hall of Fame? Oh, you're going to have to keep them around in order for them to go to a Hall of Fame. Oh, okay. That's right. I'm sorry. But he didn't even know who the Marlins were, Ichiro. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know who you guys were when you said me. Is this a minor league team? Piazza for 15 seconds. By the way, at Acura, we've got the Summer of Performance sales event going on now, and the ZDX. We still have 2024 models. We have the Type S, and you can get it now for $469 a month, 0% financing for 72 months. The RDX, a beautiful sedan, new to the family. And by the way, Acuras are made here, so you avoid the tariffs. Oh, by the way, one more thing. The Trumper, he has taken away the $7,500 tax break off the price there. So you better go get your electric car soon so you can get that ZDX and save $7,500, because basically in a couple months, you'll be paying $7,500 extra for the electric cars. ADX right now, $299 a month, 4.9% financing for 60 months. The RDX, my wife drives it every day, 4.9% financing for 60 months, $419 a month. The Integra 2025 model, $299 a month, 3.9% financing for 60 months. Go see my guy out there, Larry Schlossberg. They will take care of you. And by the way, Mike Chan and Jordan Ferber, they run the service center and do an outstanding job at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
You've been listening to the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA Report with Ira Winderman. When you're looking for award-winning service and great deals from the #1 volume Acura sales dealership in the Southeast United States, you go to Craig Zinn Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Right. Pat of Nashville says Trump's big announcement, moving Space Force from Colorado to Alabama. In related news, it's now known as Trailer Force. That's what the big announcement was? That's it? That's a big announcement? Oh, wait a minute. Is Colorado like a blue state? Is that what it is? Just so they can move something from a blue state to a red state? Is that what it was, I think? Yeah, Colorado's a blue state, right? Silly politics. Oh, God. If that's what it was, that's all we can do, bro. What can I tell you? All we do is hang on every 4 years, no matter who we put in office, and they just do stupid things. Anyway, what are we going to do? What do we have? Print more money, too, because that'll cost us a lot more money. It doesn't matter. It's our money. Write the checks. Do whatever you want. Samuel says, I'm calling it now that you get revenge on the Buckeyes and win the whole damn thing. All right. He called it. It's over. He called it. That's it. Who do you have for Thursday night's game? Eagles or Cowboys? What kind of a question is that? Who would pick the Cowboys? I know Cowboy fans are mighty stupid. Okay? They kind of fit with the average American. Mighty stupid. But, okay, those are the only people that are going to pick the Cowboys. Anybody with a brain, you got to pick the Eagles. What is even that line for that game? What is the line for that game? It's got to be brutal, right? It's got to be easily 7-9 points or something, 6.5. It's got to be something pretty bad. Can you look up what the line is for the Eagles Cowboys game? That's got to be 6.5 to 9 points or something. They're going to kick their ass. McMillan says, Big O, the entire 2025 season, I will just evaluate play calling on offense. And the moment Mike McDaniel has 3 bad games of calling the offense, he needs to go immediately, even if they're 10-3. If they're 10-3, he's not going anywhere, dude, because they're 10-3. Yeah, I don't think we want to fire any coach that's 10-3 because they're 10-3. Huh? -8. Yeah, on the Hard Rock app. Yeah, I don't know what Joe Shad follows. No, he tweeted out yesterday, line has gone all the way to Dolphins favored by 0.5 point. And I retweeted him like, yo, dude, it's still Colts -1, bro. Line hasn't moved. It's moved half a point. That's it. It went to 1.5 for Daniel Jones, and then now it went back down to 1. That's it. And I don't know the sensationalism behind it, but he had like, oh, the line's moved to Dolphins -0.5 point. I'm like, he doesn't bet. Like, Joe, buddy, you know, he got some cheesy place that had a line and threw it out there. Something not real official that is taking in money. Like, you know, why don't you go to the Hard Rock app, bro? So I retweeted back to him and I showed him the picture of the Hard Rock app where it's Colts -1, bro. You know, like let's not misinform the people out there with like bogus lines that don't exist. Dolphins are not favored by 0.5 point. But anyway, what are we gonna do? It is what it is. It's funny, but I'll police it if I have to. If it comes across my timeline and I see it and it's gibberish, I'll call it out no matter who it is. The only thing Jordan Hudson is draining is Billy Boy's bank account. Damn right. Well, maybe a little more. Whatever's left in that tank, in that shriveled up tank. Oscar Ross says, Big O, now all in fairness to Chapel Bill, in my opinion, I believe he's the best defensive mind in the NFL. Yeah, maybe you could call him one of the best defensive coordinators ever for sure. I have no problem with that. But the head coach stuff is starting to get a little overrated. And the whole Brady thing made him look really bad when he went to Tampa, and then he couldn't do anything. He wasn't really doing anything without Brady, before Brady, and now post-Brady. That's what he's proven. He's all Brady. Great defensive mind, and he complimented Brady with a great defense. But, yeah, no, he screwed up a lot. Let's see, what else do we have? Lenny Pena says, this is a mediocre team at best. Spo's going to have to work his magic to elevate this team like always. Yeah, we're building towards a play-in team. Yeah, this is a play-in team if they're fortunate. Okay? If they're fortunate, they're a play-in team. I don't think they're much more than that. If they can make it past play-in and get to like the 7th, 6th seed, right? Then okay. But somehow I think they're playing at best, dude. All right, do I have time? I don't have time to get into this yet. So I'm going to wait because I know we're going to get Manny now, and we'll talk a little Canes, baby. Looking forward to talking a little Canes with Manny. What'd he say? What'd he send out now?
He put a key stat referring to the game that just happened on Sunday. Carson Beck was only under pressure on 6 of his 32 dropbacks against Notre Dame, which ranked 6th among all 63 P4 quarterbacks to take at least 14 snaps through week
against 1. A couple of NFL linemen.
On the flip side,
okay, make sure you mention that.
I'm just reading the tweet.
But I'm just saying that Notre Dame has a couple of freaking NFL linemen.
I get that, but I'm reading just Manny's tweet. I'm not adding to it.
I got you.
On the flip side, C.J. Carr was under pressure on 10 of his 32 dropbacks, which ranked 35th out of the 63.
Okay. So you win at the line of scrimmage, dude. I mean, how many times are we going to say it? And the Dolphins don't get it. They never have from Marino till now, but I give credit, and this is why I picked them and why I like the Canes this year, because I think Mario's kind of turned the corner a little bit here. And that was a really good win. So let's start off hour number 2 with the one and only Manny Navarro and our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. Ownership, Management, Sponsors, or website. If you're a Miami sports fan, there's only one store to go to, and that's Canes Wear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Canes Wear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro. Exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
All right. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. How you feeling, Manny? You feeling good?
Feeling better. I was able to get some sleep this morning. I was basically up to about 4 after the game on Saturday working, and then got up early yesterday, was working all day. So my wife was like, why don't you sleep in? You look a little cranky. So I slept in this morning while the kids went to school. So I feel better. Good, man. Good stuff. And it's fun, man. It's fun to watch what we saw the other night, and for the Canes to pick up a victory like that against a team that was considered better, more physical, a team that everybody was worried about if they could handle, and to control that running game, to allow that defensive line to not really bother the quarterback all night. There were a lot of things that were so positive about this game. They could run the ball on them. They couldn't run on Miami. They pressured the quarterback. They didn't really get to pressure Miami's quarterback. A lot of the stuff when we talk about the line of scrimmage, that battle, that was really nice to watch between the Canes and Notre Dame. No, it was, and really, I just tweeted out a stat that I thought was probably the biggest stat of the game, and that was protecting the quarterback. And Carson Beck was only under pressure 6 times the whole game, which 6th best among all the Power 4 quarterbacks in Week 1. And you think about it, none of the guys that he went up, none of the other quarterbacks went up against a team like Notre Dame with a defensive front like that. So that shows you
those guys are going to be playing on Sundays, bro. They stopped a couple of NFL defensive linemen from pressuring Beck. That's huge, dude. Huge.
Yeah, that Boubacar Traore guy is the one dude who was able to beat Francis Maui-Noa to get to create the 1 sack on, and he looks like a beast. I mean, that kid is unreal. He'll be playing on Sunday. So that was really the game. I mean, they didn't run the ball all over Notre Dame. They didn't put. I mean, they averaged under.
But they ran the ball.
But they ran the ball when they needed to. Right?
Yeah.
They set themselves up perfectly to kick the game-winning field goal there and to basically exhaust Notre Dame of timeouts. And I know, look, I was sitting there doubting the game plan as well. I thought, listen, you got Carson Beck. You've been able to have some success. Why aren't you trying to get the first down here through the air? But Mario had faith in his guys. And, look, they ran the clock down, and it worked. So
I had no problem with the field goal. I had no problem with the field goal. I may have a problem with the field goal in the second half of the year if your offense is grooving and you're moving and everything. But on that night, you're new. Everybody, you got you new receivers, a new quarterback, you got a new defensive coordinator, all this. There's so much new going on, and your offense wasn't really humming or anything. You know what I mean? You made enough plays, but you weren't humming. And for people to assume to pass up that field goal that you were going to convert, what happens if you don't convert? Because after you kick that field goal, they score, and then you didn't answer back. So it's not like your offense is humming or anything like that. You take those points, and the way your defense was playing, it wasn't like it was last year's defense.
Right.
No, dude, this defense was showing up on that night. And I know that was on the postgame show that I did, it was a huge controversy. There's a bunch of people that were still bothered by, his conservative ways. You know what? I know he's conservative, but in this case, that was the smart move to take the 3 points. The way everything was balanced, I was good with that decision.
And listen, he obviously knows these guys a lot better than we do, but let's also not confuse the facts. This kid, the kid who kicked the winning field goal was 4 of 11 in his career at FAU on field goals before those 2 kicks on Sunday night. So he obviously had faith in him. I think a lot of us were wondering, man, are you really going to put it down on a kid who just got here from FAU? But that's why you're the head coach. That's why you make those decisions, and it paid off for Mario. And you have to give him his kudos. Whether or not you agreed with his approach, it paid off with a win. In years past, it didn't, but this time it did. And you ride with your coach when he makes the right decisions, and you win the game.
Dude, he won the game. The to go against it, there's no guarantee you would have won the game.
Right.
There's no guarantee, because if you don't convert, now you left 3 points on the field. And by the way, remember, the muff screwed up another 3 points.
Right.
Right. So overall, I felt really good about what they did. And, I told you this last year, and that's why I think this year I've given them the benefit of the doubt. I think Mario grew up a little bit last year. And we've talked about this already a couple times, and we'll mention it to other people that haven't heard it. But when he allowed his offensive coordinator and his quarterback to be themselves last year, that was so unfreaking Mario-like. And so that tells me that he got to a point where he was comfortable with them doing their thing and the guys that were there. When he gets comfortable with Beck and the young receivers and everybody, he will allow them a little bit more leeway as the season goes on. But in that moment, I thought that was the right move. And I don't believe he'll be Mr. Conservative like he's been in his past and all. Like what he did with Ward, he didn't do with his guy at Oregon.
Right. That's growth. That's coaching growth. You're 100% right. He didn't let Justin Herbert throw out over the yard.
No, Herbert ran practically more than he threw the ball at Oregon. That would frustrate me, because I was like, bro, doesn't this guy have a cannon? You don't let him throw more. It was like weird, but Mario loves a running game and all that, and he was a weapon in that sense, and so that's how he did it. But with Cam Ward, he let him do that, and to me, I thought that was monster growth by Mario. So the people that are trapped in that, he's always going to be conservative, I don't believe that anymore. I believe that he is willing to open it up if that player shows it. And I think we'll see it with Beck and company as they grow and get better.
For sure. And look, yesterday or Sunday rather was probably the best opponent you're gonna face all season. But I'll say this: Miami's gonna face some better tests down the road, and certainly, we saw some results this past week to give you some idea that some of these opponents, earlier on in the year, USF, Florida State, those are better teams than we thought they were going to be on paper. And so we're going to get plenty of opportunities here throughout this year. I think this is a much tougher schedule than the one Miami faced last year when they had Cam Ward in the number one offense. So I think we're going to see a lot of situations where Mario is going to have to make decisions in games to be aggressive or be conservative to try to get the win. And I think as long as you keep that 0 at the end of your record, nobody's going to care how you did it. And I think fans are going to start to grow with Mario as that happens.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, man, to watch. And for Malachi Tony,
yeah,
I mean, it was a show of Malachis, because there was another Malachi on the other side, doing his thing. Although great forced fumble on him by the Canes defense, and that was actually really, really cool too. But Malachi Tony, bro, I mean, that's pretty special for a 17-year-old.
Yeah, and really, I mean, the coaches felt really, really good about Tony and the way you heard them talking in the preseason about them, about the receivers and the confidence they had. I think, they felt like he was capable of this, but you really don't know until the bullets start flying, right? You really don't know until you get in the game whether or not a kid is going to shrink in the moment. And people forget he's only 17 years old. He reclassified from this year's graduating class. He's supposed to be a senior this year at Plantation American Heritage, but in terms of his talent and ability, I mean, people were saying, look, he could be another Santana Moss. He could be another, game-breaking type talent, but he's still only 17 years old. So until you see them go out there and do it, and he did it against the best secondary, arguably the best trio of returning starters in the country for a secondary. So I thought it was really impressive what he did. I thought it was really impressive what C.J. Daniels did. Here's a guy that was underutilized at LSU last season, or felt underutilized anyway by that coordinator over there, and comes over here and instantly makes a huge impact with that one-handed catch. And Mario talked about wanting to get this guy in the transfer portal for 2 years. So, look, the receivers were my number one question on offense, and in the end, they answered the bell against what I thought would be their toughest test all season. So my confidence in that unit has grown. I needed to see it. I needed to see it myself before I bought in. You can hear it from the coaches, but you got to see it on game day. And to me, I've got faith now that they've got two legitimate guys at the wide receiver position who can deliver.
Yeah, it looks like it at least. That catch by C.J. Daniels was just absolutely freaking sick. Did they come away clean? It looked like injury-wise.
Jordan Lyle, I think, got nicked up early.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's
right. He said he got nicked up. Yes.
Yeah, and I would suspect that he won't play this week against
Bethune-Cookman, bro. Come on.
There's really no need. You can give him another day of rest. Although I Josh Darrow, who's the sideline reporter for QAM, I always listen to the radio broadcast because it's the only place you're going to get sideline reports on injuries. So I always listen to. That's my little cheat code. And Darrow said that the trainers apparently cleared him to return. Mario just decided to ride with Marty Brown and Mark Fletcher, which is the smart thing to do when those guys are getting the job done and not fumbling. So I think, this is probably an opportunity to give him a week of rest. It's a short week and let some of those other freshmen and guys that never get to play eat on Saturday against Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, dude, it's a bye week this week. Give me a break. They could win that game asleep. Last night, that was, bro. I mean, I gotta tell you, Manny, I pulled the move of all moves. TCU's favored by 3.5, and I go, you know what, bro? Let me wait for the live line. Let me see first of all who's going to receive, because if TCU is going to receive, I'm going to lay the bet right now 3.5 and the money line. I think the money line was -120, and I go, but if North Carolina receives. If they start driving and they cross midfield, then the algorithm starts lowering the number already,
Yeah.
And sure enough, they scored. So I went from -3.5 to +2.5 for TCU.
Wow.
So
easy money.
Exactly. And so while, all these people, the Belichick start, I'm like, bro, this is fantastic. TCU is easily going to come back from this. So I ended up getting +110 on the money line instead of -120, and I got +2.5. It was at +3.5 for a second. I just couldn't hit the button fast enough, and the thing disappeared into the lock like it does in the Hard Rock app.
Yeah,
and then it came back at 2.5 +2.5, and I said, hell yeah, baby, let me take that shit. And then the rest is history after that. So the live, you gotta take advantage of the live betting, bro. Sometimes I just waited to see who was receiving first and foremost, because I knew if TCU was going to receive, they could take an early lead, and then the line then really explodes, and then I'm out, and that sucks. But last night, dude, we saw with Shula, the game does pass you by at times. It looked like it was passing him by in the NFL. Well, let me tell you something. College football, you know it better than I do. That shit is light years ahead of what college football was 10, 20, 40 years ago. Maybe 40 years ago, Belichick was going to be good for college football. Today's college football, a 75-year-old fart, I just can't see you keeping up with this. And when I saw that, it just looked like an old man with his old ways, and that's not going to fly in today's college football. Your thoughts?
It really isn't. And look, the NFL, you have a draft every year that can save you, right? You're able to pick players. You don't have it the other way around where you got to convince them to come play for you. So to me, that's what makes college so much more difficult, because now, yes, money is involved, and you've got a salary cap, and you've got, X amount of money that you can spend, and other schools can outspend you. But you also got to be able to recruit. And if you don't have a recruiting foundation, you're screwed. And I think we saw that with North Carolina, because 70 new guys on that roster. You knew a lot of those guys were going to be misses. I mean, his personnel staff, they get hired in January. Most of these people already have identified their free agents in September of who they're going after, the kids that are sitting on the bench not playing. So you're 4 months behind at the start of this in terms of scouting. Then you get in there and, the best players are all gone. You end up having to take a quarterback from South Alabama to be the number one guy for you. So, look, I don't know. He's 73 years old. I think he did this ultimately to get his son a job more than anything else. And it's a fun story. But I think
for us, the train wreck is going to be awesome to watch. It's awesome to watch, dude. I mean,
it is if you're a Dolphins fan for sure. But I think look, if you're a North Carolina fan. Buckle up, man, because it's gonna be a long season. It's gonna be a long season.
And some guy was still hopeful on Twitter with me, and I'm like, my brother, this is college football. With losing comes bitterness, comes transfers, comes social media and all kinds of negativity and failed in recruiting and all that kind of stuff. This is something that is a ball that rolls down a hill, and it'll roll down the hill fast, and it'll grow bigger and bigger in college football fast as hell. These kids aren't going to have patience with you. They can go somewhere else. They're gone. Transfer portals are going to be loading up if they can get out of North Carolina. And that's the bad part for them, that today's college football, the player has so much freedom. That's the worst thing for Belichick and company right now.
At least in the NFL, you've got rookie contracts. You've got, different things that tie you to a team. It doesn't give you flexibility. In college football, you can sign with a college in December and in February change your mind and transfer and go somewhere else, and you're not going to sit out. I mean, the rules are just vastly different. He is at such a huge disadvantage. And I look, he's got NFL guys, Kitchens and Lombardi and all those guys. You're not going to become the 33rd NFL team because you say you are, right? Like, you're just not. I mean, look at Kalen DeBoer at Alabama, right? He had a job that was perfectly set up for him by the godfather of college football, and he's lost 4 games to unranked opponents here since he beat Kirby Smart in Georgia and looked like a genius. So it's not an easy job to have success in. I call it the hardest job in sports, being a college football coach. Because expectations are through the roof, and you don't have the advantages that the NFL has. You do not have a draft, and you do not have rookie contracts and ways to retain players. Here, it's a free-for-all, and if you're not a good recruiter, you're shit out of luck.
That's funny. You and I agree, because I said being a college head coach is harder than the NFL. And Belichick
harder than any job.
Couldn't hang in the NFL. There's no way he's going to hang with Mario Cristobal, who's out texting and recruiting his ass, all over the place. Like, you think Bill's keeping up with players on texts and all kinds of stuff? And, hey, great job tonight in high school, this, that, or like, Mario's keeping up with some kid that he's recruiting somewhere in Georgia who just had a night where he had 3 sacks or whatever. And Mario's freaking sending him congratulations, and the kid's like, holy shit, you think Belichick's doing that stuff? No, bro, give me a break.
Mario ended that game on Sunday night, and he had 100 recruits waiting for him in a tent. Okay, I mean, and these are guys that are 2027, 2028 high school graduates. They have nothing to do with this next class. They're the future.
What a night for Mario, bro, to win to beat Notre Dame, and then because that's we've talked about this over and over again. This is the final straw. You start winning these kind of games, you get into the ACC championship game, you win the ACC championship game, you get to the playoffs. Now all the top recruits are going to want to come here, all of them.
They are, and the excuses of, hey, I you guys aren't winning, that's not going to fly anymore. Their parents will be like, why? You just beat Notre Dame. Right. They're paying you the same amount of money as Oregon and Texas, but we want to come see all your games. We don't want to have to get on a plane to go watch you. You know. So that's going to be over. Look, the opportunity is there now. I told you, I think they got through their toughest opponent of the regular season. Florida's going to be a test. South Florida is going to be a better game than we thought. The trip to Tallahassee is not going to be as easy as facing a 2-10 team, because it looks like Gus Malzahn has their act together over there on offense. So there'll be bumps in the road, I'm sure, and it won't be a perfect ride through the season. But there's no reason now, in my mind, they can't go 12-0.
Years ago, there was a famous quote by a college coach. And I'm not going to say the quote, but you'll remember the quote when I rephrase the quote now. Come after me. I'm a man. I'm broke at 60.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about now with Mike Gundy, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
He's crying poor now.
He's crying poor now because T. Boone Pickens is dead, and he apparently doesn't have the funding he used to have back in the day at Oklahoma State. So, listen,
Can you explain to people what's going on with Mike Gundy? Because obviously I'm having some fun with it, but
yes,
I mean that's kind of the new saying now, right? Come after me. I'm a man. I'm a broke 60-year-old. I mean, because that's what he's saying. But go ahead.
yeah. Mike Gundy, for those of you who don't know, Oklahoma State played in the Big 12 championship 2 seasons ago. Last season, they had everybody on their team coming back, and then they went out and went 3-9, winless in the Big 12. Absolutely horrible. He got totally exposed for somebody who didn't know how to handle the transfer portal as far as a coach, a veteran coach, longtime coach. And now they're set to play Oregon here in week 2, and everybody knows Phil Knight and Oregon spend a buku bucks on players. And so Oklahoma State for many, many years with T. Boone Pickens and all the oil people out there in the state of Oklahoma, they were living well. I mean, Oklahoma State was overachieving a lot of years and getting to the Big 12 championship game and playing in bowl games consistency. But as you know, the game of college football has changed quite a bit here in the last few years with NIL and everything else. And so now Mike Gundy is crying and getting into a war of words with Dan Lanning at Oregon. And, Oregon's just kind of laughing and like saying, yeah, whatever, dude. Like show up, you're supposedly a Power 4 conference team. Show up and play Saturday and see what happens.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's for you to that's such a weak move on his part to cry poor now at this point. Like, give me a break, dude, and just make it excuses. I wonder if he's getting exposed over there in Oklahoma for that stuff. I don't know. You follow it more on a national basis, but
I think nobody's feeling bad for Mike Gundy because listen. Oklahoma State is still a Big 12 conference school, and he retained a lot of the players that he had going into last season and still went 3-9. So, at some point you got to take responsibility, right? You can't just keep passing the buck and listen, he's basically complaining about his donors and the people who've been giving him money and supporting him for all these years. I wonder where that support's going to go after they get their asses handed to them by Oregon on Saturday. I'm sure it won't be there. Instead of saying thank you guys for what you've done, he's basically spitting in their face saying it's not enough. But yet, who's given the budget to spend? Who's given the resources? Who's the chef in the kitchen? It's Mike Gundy.
I'm with you. And by the way, kudos to Phil Knight. Not so much about the Oregon football program, but he gave $2 billion to the Oregon Health and Science Knight Cancer Center for cancer research and stuff, and for patients and things like that. So while he takes care of his local football team, he also does some really good stuff with his money. So it's nice to see people giving back. $2 billion, dude, that's
a lot of these dudes give money away all the time, and people are unaware of it.
Yeah. So give Phil Knight a little credit that he is doing some good also with his money. And listen, whoever chooses, we've got people that are loading up the collective for Miami, and he's doing it for Oregon, and others do it for Texas and Ohio State and Alabama, and so be it. And it's up to Mike Gundy to go make new friends.
And it's up to Mike Gundy to spend smarter, right? They invested. He did a lot of interviews in the offseason about this, and I remember listening to a couple of them, and they invested it into the guys on their own roster, and that sometimes that's the bad investment. Sometimes you got to let a guy walk instead of feeling comfortable in his job, right? I think the one thing that you're trying to create in college football that you used to have automatically because guys couldn't transfer was a level of competition on your roster, and when you basically come back from a season like they did where they made it to the Big 12 championship game, and you got all these guys coming back, including Ollie Gordon, who's with the Dolphins now. You kind of set a dangerous precedent because those guys we deserve the money. Look what we just did for you. We just took you to the Big 12 championship. So you just pay the kids that are coming back, and you don't bring any competition in for them. Well, what do you get? You get a lazy atmosphere. And so that's on the head coach to recognize that and to say, hey, you know what? We're not going to pay this guy at right tackle who was average for us. We're going to go get a new guy who's going to come in here and make us better because losing in the Big 12 championship game wasn't enough, and we don't want guys getting comfortable around here. But Again, you talk about Belichick. Sometimes the game passes you by, bro. You're not ready for the new world that you're living in. And as a coach, look, I look at the guy at Arizona State, Dillingham. I mean, he is, to me, kind of the new version of the coach. You got to be a really good offensive play caller, know what you're doing on offense. You have to be able to recruit guys. You went from having the worst team in the Big 12 to all of a sudden winning the league last year. So young blood, man, sometimes that's what you need.
All right. By the way, what do you got going on in the Athletics so folks can check you out?
Well, I have my column off of Sunday night's game up for people to read. I also just did a national column on the whether or not it's time to hit the panic button for 6 of the teams in college football who lost over the weekend. Oh, I strongly feel this Notre Dame team, they're going to bounce back and be really, really good. I thought TJ Carr was really, really good on Sunday. So I think, it's going to bode well for Miami because you need the teams that you beat to do well to help you, when it comes to fighting for playoff positioning and seeding. And so that could help Miami get a top 4 seed if they're able to run the table and or even finish with 1 loss, but win the league. I think they still end up with the top 4 seed because of their win over Notre Dame.
Well, you've been handed right now. You're at number 5. So take care of business and you'll slowly eke up. Mm-hmm. And that's a beautiful, just take care of business and you'll be fine and you'll be in the mix, which is a beautiful thing. This was the step that you had to take. If you lose this game, it puts a gray cloud over everything and we don't know where you're going and where you stand. Winning this game maybe shows that you are making the progress we were all expecting. And then now you can really take off and have the kind of year that everybody's been waiting for a long, long time, man. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Manny, as always, appreciate you, my brother. We will catch up on Friday.
Talk soon, brother. Take care.
You got it. There you go. Don't forget, this month, Sergei Bobrovsky will be at Caneswear Sunday, the 21st, 11:30 to 1 p.m. He'll be signing autographs, taking pictures, kissing babies, all kinds of stuff. So come on out to Caneswear. Use our code BIG010. You will get 10% off if you buy anything Panthers-wise, Heat, whatever, anything. But if you're going to see Bobrovsky, you got to buy Panther stuff and get him to sign it. Matthew Tkachuk will be there next month, October 8th, 6 to 7:15 p.m. And, of course, check out everything in Caneswear, man. They got anything and everything with the Canes logo on it. Miami Heat gear, Championship Panthers gear, Miami Marlins gear. What am I missing? Miami Dolphins gear. They got everything there, man. Go check it out and tell them that Big O sent you there at Caneswear.com.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at Caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
All right. There you go. Good stuff as always. Let's get to our 3A Graphics sports calendar with the one and only Alan Blanco, 786-618-1443. Custom printing and embroidery. If your company, corporation, school, entity need new uniforms, hats, shirts, whatever it is you need, call 3A Graphics. They can get it done for you. You can do all of that by Zoom, and they can have it shipped to you right away. 786-618-1443. Last night, TCU embarrassed Belichick 48-14 as they trash UNC. Gio Lopez, the starting quarterback, struggled 4 of 10 for 69 yards and an interception. Meanwhile, Josh Hoover was lighting it up for TCU, 27 of 36, 284, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. On Saturday night, Spokane will be hosting the Fort Lauderdale United as the ladies will hit the road at home. Miami FC at Pitbull Stadium on Saturday at 7:30 will host the Hartford Athletic. Also on Saturday at 7 o'clock on ESPN Plus, UM will be hosting Bethune-Cookman. And on Sunday at 1 o'clock, the Miami Dolphins will visit the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are favored by 1. The over and under is 47. The money line is both minus 110 on the money line. That is your 3A Graphics sports calendar. Man, just out of curiosity, anybody following the Inter Miami fiasco? You've given up on them? You canceled your free Apple TV? Pretty disgraceful, I got to say. And the Moss family, you got to show some scruples here, dude. You got to suspend Suarez. I'd suspend them for the remainder of the season. There's 9 games left. You spit on another man, and not only that, an older man, an assistant coach for the Sounders. Like, you're just a despicable human being. And Busquets punches a 19-year-old. A 19-year-old. You're like a world-class player, bro. People look up to you. And you go and punch the kid. And I don't know how strong the punch was, because the kid went to the floor. It was kind of
it was
acting.
It was a good act. But the fact he threw with a punch, though,
right,
it's like, what are we doing?
Right. Like the lack of class, the disgrace that this whole thing has been. And let me tell you something. The Moss family has made a mistake that has happened in so much. It's happening with the Dolphins right now. You have a coach that allows his players to run the asylum. You never let the inmates run the asylum. Now, the problem is on the inner side, it's only one inmate running the asylum. And that's Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi is your general manager. He's your coach. And he's your top player. He decides all the players that stay and go. He decides what coach stays and goes. He decides what GM stays and goes. You can't allow players to make any decisions. And the Moss family, of course, because you need the cash cow, you have to appease him, or won't sign the extension, or he won't come, or whatever it is. So he's got you by the you-know-what. But look at what's happened. Now everybody's like on my bandwagon now that I've been talking about how Messi's a big choker and like he has won nothing. Now have you watched the coverage all over the place? Fox, everybody else? Like they're all pointing like, he wins nothing there. Really? That's kind of what I've been pointing out. Yes, sir.
I was going to say, a lot of them were trying to say, oh, it's Inter Miami's fault for not putting the team around him.
Right.
This is the team he's put around himself.
Exactly. He's the one that allows the young guys to get shipped off for another old guy or another Argentine guy. And look, bro, for the Argentine community, God bless you, dude. It's a beautiful novelty. You get to reminisce with your players. It's awesome. For the Argentine community, it's awesome. They don't give a shit about Inter Miami. They're never going to come back to Inter Miami once those players are gone. Okay? It's not like you're earning any fans. They're still snobbish international soccer fans. They don't give a shit about the MLS or your team. That's the part that Moss doesn't get. That they really don't understand how they should have built this. It's all right to bring Messi, but you have to tell them, no, we got to bring a young guy next to you that we need to elevate next to you so when you leave, he takes over. No, not another old guy and another old guy and another old guy. That there's no future. None whatsoever. Kremoski gone, Campana gone. It's like, it's stupid. Kremoski, you know why he's gone? Because 2 weeks ago, they asked him about his role, and he said, I don't know what my role is. I have no idea what I'm doing. Because one day he's playing one position, then he's playing another position. One day he's starting, he's not starting. He had no idea, and he was just being honest. And because of that, it created a little controversy, and now they shipped him out to Parma. And then, so you give the inmate the asylum. He brings his friends. They're front runners. When things are going well and they score a couple goals ahead of you, they can win. But if they trail, Forget about it because they won't work hard enough. They're not defensive enough, and they're too old. And if you notice it, you'll see how, like, Seattle was 100 times better. Orlando should have kicked their ass. But the coach, after the 1-0 lead, somehow or another decided to let me pack the box and play conservative, which made no sense when athletically Miami could not hang with Orlando. Like, that was stupid coaching. It should have been Orlando and Seattle in the finals. The coach is the one that I would fire the Orlando coach just for that. That was just catastrophically stupid. But back to Inter Miami, who is a disgrace. Okay? They are disgraceful. They are pitiful. They are an embarrassment. You spend this kind of money. You bring these players here. And the fact, by the way, Suarez has and always been a scumbag. Always has been a scumbag, a lowlife. So you signed a scumbag lowlife, and look what the scumbag lowlife does. What scumbag lowlifes do. He spit on another man. That's disgusting, dude. I hope that coach's son is hunting that guy down. Because if that was my dad, I would hunt Suarez down. He would not get away. I would find a way to get my shot in, and it ain't going to be spitting. Okay? That guy bites and spits. I can tell you already that's one of those big wussies. That's the guy you get. You ever got in a fight with a person that scratches you or tries to pull your hair, and then what happens to you at that point? Now your fury, it's like, oh, you're fighting like a chick? I'm now going to really put my foot right in the center of your, you know what? That's what I think of that guy. Come on, man. I mean, you know, I hope the Moss brothers have some cojones. Finally, start showing some cojones instead of just throwing money around. And start showing some discipline, dude. That franchise has no discipline. The way they do everything is undisciplined, and we've seen it firsthand. Okay? You can see, money doesn't solve everything. Stephen Ross, Jorge Mas. You can have money, dude. But if you don't know how to actually run the sport and the business itself, you're not going to succeed. Stephen Ross, Jorge Mas. You just can't throw money at it, dude. There's got to be some structure. Look, the Arisons now have lost it. They used to know how to win in the old ways. Now they don't. So they have the money, but they don't really throw it around like these other guys do. These two guys throw money around. They think money solves it all. Mickey's frugal, cheap, whatever you want to call it, compared to those guys. So he's not going to necessarily go out and go over aprons and pay all kinds of crazy taxes and take all kinds of crazy chances. He's not going to be like the Phoenix Suns guy or he's not going to be like the Russian guy. He's not going to do any craziness. It'll all be deliberate is probably the best word for Mickey Harrison. But he's not good. They're not going to be like those guys or like Viola, who also throws the money around. But guess what? The Army guy has a plan, a structure in place. I think he's Army, right? Or Marines. Oh, shit. I'm sorry, Mr. Viola, it's not an insult if I got but the Marines do take it kind of personal. Yeah, see, there we go. Yeah, we do. See, if you call a Marine an Army guy or a Navy, they're going to be pissed off at you. You know what I'm saying? That I've learned over the years. Marines don't want to be anything but a Marine. Hoo-ha! Right, or whatever. He's a Ranger? Okay. That was my dad. My dad was a Ranger. My dad was a Ranger. Anyway, so he has what do you got? What do you got for me? No, Viola's a badass.
He founded and funded the Combating Terrorism Center at West Point.
Yeah, he's a badass. He's just a badass. Viola's a badass. Anyway, you can't just throw money at it. And this is what Jorge Mas is now learning. Two things. You can't throw money at it, and never, ever, 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 ever allow the inmates or inmate to run the asylum. Never. 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 That never works out. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm wrong. When you're wrong, you're wrong. Tom Brady was one inmate that went and ran the Tampa Bay Asylum to a championship, actually. Give me Gronk, give me this guy, give me that guy. He did control and whatever, It didn't work the second and the third year, but the first year, I got to say, it worked with the inmate on that one, but that's a special inmate. It's a different kind of inmate. So, yes, sir.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
When you're talking about the Moss brothers.
Yes.
They're going to get double whammied once Messi leaves, right?
Yes.
Meaning the MLS is not going to be as nice as they are now to them. And then also the fans, they're moving into the Freedom Park area, that the new
Freedom
stadium.
Park.
And
they'll have them for the first year.
Yeah, but
and then after that, everybody, then they'll disappear.
They're going to have those cardboard cutouts like during COVID.
And they'll disappear. That's what I'm telling you.
It is going to be disastrous.
They don't get it.
No.
They didn't build to connect.
And everybody that they did that could connect, they're gone now.
Yeah.
They're gone now.
The Argentine fans that go for Messi, they don't give a shit about Inter Miami.
You know something else that's funny?
They don't care.
Before Messi got here,
gone.
You used to hear about the academy a lot more.
Right.
When's the last time you heard anything about the academy?
Because it's all about old.
It's wow. Yeah.
Go look at a video on YouTube where it shows the salaries of all the players. Did you see it? See how top heavy it is? It's only a few guys, and then everybody else getting paid like $1,000, $2,000 a week. That's it. Everybody else, it's hilarious. It's just terrible. And they're good dudes, man. Moss brothers are good dudes, but they're a little crazy in the way they do things, and they're paying the price. What can I tell you? You know who paid the price yesterday? Bill Belichick paid the price, 48-14. He took an absolute ass whipping. And one of the reasons why? Well, that's because we got to go to who was the difference maker? Who was the Cutter's Edge Pro difference maker of the night?
Who brought the edge? Who changed the game? Who is our Cutter's Edge Pro difference maker? When you want to give your home or business the edge, call Cutter's Edge Pro in South Florida for all your landscape solutions. Here's our Cutter'sEdgePro.com difference maker.
Oh, baby, I am going to go with Bud Clark and the defense from TCU. He had that 25-yard interception for a touchdown. They picked up an interception. They forced 3 turnovers in the process. TCU rushed for 258 yards. North Carolina rushed for 50 yards in the game. The defense shut them down to 1.8 yards per carry. UNC went 1 of 10 on third down. Their starting quarterback, people were timing how long it took for him to not complete a pass. It approached over 2 hours for Gio. I was so concerned that in the middle of that game, Trump announced that he was going to have a big announcement today. I thought for sure that Gio Lopez was going to get deported. Thank God for Gio. That wasn't the news today. Gio's still with us. But Gio didn't get it done against that TCU defense. And when you want to get it done, you got to call our friends at Cutter's Edge Pro. William Quigley and the boys, Dade, Broward, Palm Beach counties. They can get it done. Landscaping, outdoor lighting, irrigation, artificial grass. I love the artificial grass. My dogs love the artificial grass. I love that I don't have to ever cut it. I love that I never have to water the grass. I love that it always looks great. And your home is always better off If you put more landscaping, it improves the value. And also, if you add enough landscaping around the house, you can make it cooler. The house can be cooler. The AC will work less. It's a beautiful thing. Your backyard, you add more trees, it lowers the temperatures. The sun doesn't get in. It's a beautiful thing. Call Cutter's Edge Pro. Create your own oasis like we have done in our home. Reach out to them, 954-472-0622. Call William Quigley. This is our Cutter's Edge Pro difference maker.
The Cutter's Edge Pro Difference Maker is brought to you by Cutter'sEdgePro.com, servicing HOAs, condominiums, townhomes, commercial properties, corporate parks, malls throughout South Florida. Cutter'sEdgePro.com, providing South Floridians the edge every day of the year.
Right. Let me go here to the chat board. Karoon says, I learned from watching the Black Hawk Down documentary that Rangers are badasses indeed. Yes, they are. Army Rangers are badasses. Yes, they are. Thank you, Josh. Big O, it just reinforces our Dolphins believe that Don Shula was truly the best head coach ever in the NFL. He's the best head coach I ever saw. Because he could win with less and different people, and he won with the 70s team that was basic running and defense. Then he gets to the Super Bowl, didn't win it, but he shouldn't win it because Washington was better, but he got there with Woodstock, and there was like a strike in the middle, and Kyle Mackey and the boys, I believe he went like 4-1 in those 5 games or something like that. He was, his team was least penalized, whether it was scrubs or whether it was the normal team every single year. Then he gets Marino. They had no defense and they had no running game, and yet they still got to the Super Bowl. And again, they were supposed to lose because San Francisco was 100 times better than Miami. So I watched Don, overcome stuff. Doug Peterson for his 325th victory. Peterson was the quarterback. I believe it was even against the Eagles they won the 325th. So, all that, it just, yes. Yeah, just growing up as a kid all the way through, watching him do what Spo has done. That Spo wins with different teams, different iterations of Heat teams. He gets them to overachieve and do things they're not supposed to do and all that. Spo and Shula are so alike in their greatness of how they can coach and better everything that they get. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I have no problem with giving Shula the best coach I've ever seen in my life. The sad part was the second half of his career, he ran out of personnel people, and that's what he needed badly. He wasn't good in personnel, so Thomas, Beathard, Young, all those guys, that's what really helped Shula. Once he lost the personnel people and then they added the salary cap right on the back end, oh my God, that was really disastrous. Unfortunately, the old man could not adjust to that. I was the business side of it, and that's the part of when you find those guys that could actually draft and coach and do everything, it's freakish, man. It's freakish. It really is. Got to give props to those folks that can actually do it. Let's see. 24-year-old girlfriend Jordan Hudson had gone viral after being spotted talking to him during UNC's first game last night. We have never seen something like this. Nope. Nobody's ever seen it. Yeah, it was pregame. Yeah, because they were outside on the field practicing. Right. They were stretching and doing all that stuff. Yeah. No, but it wasn't during the game. No. But that's how it is. People pass it on. They really don't go look themselves. They don't actually do the homework. And so, yeah, it was. She was down there, but it was pregame. Ty in the Bronx, thank you for the love on the super chat. Shula was excellent at readjusting to scheme. Yes, and countering and everything. He was so good. He's an exceptional X's and O's coach. Just was. Big O, are you going to Indianapolis? Sir, no, I am not. We are only traveling to Madrid this year. No more bunch of trips in the regular season. For us to do that again, the Dolphins will have to be good. I'm not doing that anymore until they're good. And I'm talking about good like for a year or two that they are okay, they've turned the corner and they're going to be a good team, and then I'll start to maybe get an investment involved in that. But if not, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not. It's too aggravating. They got to turn the corner. And by the way, that's training camp is so weak nowadays that this year was like the first year in a long time that I didn't bother to go. And I got to tell you something. It was awesome. It was awesome. I don't know. Yeah, they're going to have to be really good to get me out to go to training camp again. Because training camp is useless. You really don't get a good feel for the team. They don't even hit enough anymore. It's kind of a joke nowadays what training camp is. I mean, those of us that have seen real training camp, we kind of know. If you haven't, if you've been on the beat for 5 or 10 or 15 years, yeah, you probably haven't seen real practices. But yeah, that's kind of the way it goes. But yeah, they're going to need to get better for me to invest the money from the show into that stuff. It's just not worth it. Definitely not worth it. Putting all that money into traveling and all that and get the sponsors involved. Yeah. By the way, I wanted to come up with this. Maybe you guys can help me out on this one. The Mount Rushmore of South Florida chokers. Okay, so I came up with 4 of them. Vinny Testaverde, Sammy Smith, Harold Miner, and Lionel Messi. Now remember, this is the history of South Florida sports. What Messi has done outside of South Florida doesn't mean jack shit. He was brought here to win an MLS Cup, to be the best team in the MLS. He brought his friends, and, as international soccer fans think, the MLS is really easy, a really bad league. So you have everything and you can't win anything. Messi belongs in that list. But do you guys have anybody that you think should be better than that? Because I'm trying to think of, like, Harold Miner was picked as a high pick for the Heat, number 12 overall. And he came in with the baby Jordan stuff, and all he could do was dunk. He couldn't play. He was useless. Vinny Testaverde had all the talent in the world. He played under one of the best, to me, the best Canes team ever in '86, the one that didn't win the title. Okay? And he choked the year before with Tennessee. He threw 9 interceptions in the 2 biggest games of his career, the 2 biggest bowl games that, by the way, both were in the running for a national championship. Even the loss to Tennessee could have put you in the conversation, definitely if you beat Penn State, you win it for sure. The other one, conversation. And then Sammy Smith was a 9th pick overall in the draft, I want to say. Big, physical, punished the UM defense that year for like 150, 160 yards. And the UM defense had like several NFL players on it. So everybody thought Sammy was the guy. That was the guy Marino needed in the running game. And he was a complete waste and a joke and a fumbler and a choker. So in South Florida history, like, give me, who am I knocking out this list? Is there somebody in South Florida history that we can put in there that belongs there instead of player X that you think on this list? Okay? Have at it. The Mount Rushmore of ultimate chokers. And so far, this is my list right now. My initial list that I talked about and thought about this morning, going through the history of South Florida sports. You got anything for me you want to add? Somebody you would knock off the list. What do you got? Jimmy Johnson for the Dolphins is a great mention. Yes,
But he did make it to the playoffs. They went 2-3 in the playoffs with Jimmy. So it's not as bad as Sammy was or Vinny choking badly, by the way. AKA Jimmy Johnson allowing his dumb ass to keep passing and not hand it off to Alonzo Highsmith. I'll never forgive Jimmy for that. Jimmy underachieved with the Canes and was a disaster for the Dolphins. What saves him is the Dallas Cowboy thing, but I think he escapes from the top four, for me at least personally. Maybe for you, it's subjective. Yes, sir.
Along those lines, which he might get saved as well. Nick Saban?
He made it even to the playoffs with Gus Frerotte 1 year, 9-7. It was a failure. It wasn't anything special, but he was only here 2 years, and he didn't really have a great team that I have to say, oh, you're supposed to.
But I'm not going to Alabama.
Like Lionel Messi is supposed to dominate because he's got all his people, right?
Yes.
Vinny Testaverde had the best Canes team ever, and he choked away that game all by himself. You know what I'm saying? I can't put Saban there, at least maybe for you. Maybe for you, you would.
I mean,
if you put Saban, who would you knock out of those four?
Like, to me, in those times, I know everybody put a lot on Harold Miner by calling him Baby Jordan and all that. But
right. You didn't think he was going to be that guy?
No.
But they talked him up that way.
No, exactly. But that where it goes back to where he's like everybody talks all these guys up all the time. Like Sammy Smith. I mean,
but dude, he was useless. Like he wasn't Baby Jordan.
Yeah, but name a Heat player that we always have that in the draft. I mean, Shabazz Napier.
That was to appease.
Things.
That was to appease.
But again, when you're doing to appease, that guy's been talked up, so everybody expected Shabazz Napier to be something because LeBron mentioned his name, and then it's like.
But it was more of a point guard. Like Miner was supposed to be they thought he was going to be a star.
Again, then we think every time somebody's drafted, everybody thinks he's a star. Like I just.
Larry Coker won a title, bro. I can't. And by the way, they stole the title from Larry Coker, the referee in the Ohio State game. I can't blame Larry Coker for that, dude. I really can't. I would never put Larry Coker. What Larry Coker was a full-time head coach in college. He was a good X's and O's guy, but he wasn't a custodian where he was going to be able to continue recruiting and maintaining. That's where Larry failed. Larry could actually coach X's and O's. Like Dennis Erickson could coach X's and O's. He won 2 titles in the first 3 years with Jimmy's guys. But then the next 4 years after his players took over, he got his ass kicked every year in the bowl games. Embarrassing losses under Dennis Erickson. And Dennis Erickson was a hell of a coach when he didn't have to be a custodian of the program. When Jimmy handed him loaded teams, he was able to win those first couple of years. Once his players took over, just wasn't the same. Von Schaman, Stojanovic, Testaverde, Fiedler. Nah, sorry, Ty. Von Schaman was a kicker that just lost it, but he was good for a while, better than Harold Miner ever did, or better than Sammy Smith ever did, and then he lost it. Stojanovic was better than all those guys, and then he lost it. Testaverde definitely was a choker, and Fiedler was not a high draft pick. You never spent any money. That was just a bad move by Wanstead thinking that he was a franchise quarterback. He was a serviceable quarterback, but I wouldn't call him a major choker because there was no expectations with Jay Fiedler. None. Deion Jordan, that's a good one. That's a very good one. I like that one a lot. That's the best one that's been mentioned right now is Deion Jordan because he was taken number 3 overall. They traded up for him. He was supposed to be a difference maker. That's a really, really good one right there because he did nothing. Like nothing, dude. So that's choking right there at its finest. Yes.
I mean, we don't know all the details, but could Ryan Crow make it?
Yeah, he could be one of the top chokers of all time in Dolphin history. Apparently, according to witnesses,
You know? According to witnesses, you may have some there, Sean. Who? Oh, Michael Beasley. Yeah, that's a good one. I like the Michael Beasley one. Whoever put that one in, that one's pretty good. That one's pretty good because that was the number 2 overall pick, bro.
Some are putting like Cam Cameron in them. I just think that was just a dumb hire.
Yeah, it's just
right?
dumb hire. Yeah, that's like Joe Philbin, a dumb hire.
Yeah, they weren't good, but that was not a good hire.
Put it this way. Bill Parcells is that more than Cam Cameron ever will. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Like Bill Parcells came in with expectations. You have no expectations for Joe Philbin or Cam Cameron or Brian Flores or Mike McDaniel. They're nothing. They're nobodies. They're trying to become somebodies here. Bill Parcells was already the guy. So he was coming here to lift the team to be great. Bill Parcells is a much bigger choker than Cam Cameron. I don't think some of you guys are really understanding the gist of this whole thing. You can't be a choker if you're not much of anything. If you're an overachiever like Jay Fiedler, how can you be a choker? Jay Fiedler, to get to where he got, was phenomenal, actually. You're missing the point. Harold Miner was drafted in anticipation. Deion Jordan, anticipation, number 3 overall pick. People that come under the radar, that can't be included on this list. You understand? Cam Cameron and Joe Philbin and Adam Gase and all that. Well, maybe Adam Gase a little bit because of the 55 touchdowns from Peyton Manning and the offense and all that, but it was really more Peyton Manning, not him.
That kind of goes the Joe Philbin route, right? Like that guy did it. No, not really.
No, not really in Green Bay. Yeah, kind of. But in order to make it on this list, you had to be messy. That you're coming to the MLS. You just brought Argentina a World Cup. You're one of the best players in the world. Oh, this is cake. I'm going to the MLS to dominate and bring the MLS Cup. The fool got eliminated in the first round by Atlanta, the worst team in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't won shit. That's choking. Vinny Testaverde, you got all the talent to play in the NFL. You're in 2 championship moments and you throw 9 interceptions. That's choking. So that's part. Willie Burton is a pretty good one because he was a really high pick, didn't live up to it. I don't know if anybody got any of that. Something like that. You got to come with some, gusto. You're a high pick, a big free agent, all that. Somebody that is Jay Fiedler. Dude, Jay Fiedler is one of the better, overachievers, actually. That's what he is. Not a choker. He wasn't good enough to be considered great. He wasn't supposed to succeed. Put it that way. Whatever he got to, he overachieved. So that can never be included in this list. You got some? No, you got the mic there. Okay. Yatil Green. That's a good one. Although some of you may not know my history, but I ripped Jimmy Johnson for drafting Yatil Green. I called it an absolutely stupid pick. Okay? And I called Jimmy Johnson a horse's ass when he stood there in the press conference and told Yatil, no more pulled hamstrings, no more this, no more that. And I'm like, bro, did you watch him? That's all he did. He'd catch a ball, pull a hamstring. He'd catch a ball, twist an ankle. He was the most fragile player I've ever seen in my life. And then you all of a sudden think he's going to turn into durability? Like, what kind of a dumbass are you, Jimmy Johnson? Oh, the guy takes John Avery. And then tells me that Larry Shannon will be as good as Randy Moss. Jimmy Johnson did some catastrophically stupid stuff. Seriously. Like, like gigantic stupid shit. The kind of stuff. So the Yateel Green on my show is not a good selection, actually, because I said Yateel Green is not a good pick. So while some Canes Dolphin fans, those are the homers, Homer fans are fans. They're fanatics. I'm sorry that, some of you end up in this category, but it is what it is. You don't really think logically. So you look at, Yateel, the whole thing. We don't draft players. I've been doing this for 35 years. We don't draft players. So when they draft Yateel Green, we get the stupid Dolphin fans that think that every player is going to be great. So that's why I wouldn't include Yateel Green on this list, because I said that was a terrible pick before he even took the field for the Dolphins. So there you go. But I'm the bad guy. I'm used to being the bad guy. That's my role for 35 years. I'm not here to be Mr. Popular or Mr. Nice Guy or you hear what you want here. No, sometimes you're not going to hear what you want, but you're going to hear the truth. That's the beauty. You will hear the tooth. Ted Ginn. Ocala Joe, that's a very good one. Very good one. Overdrafted, obviously, and all that, but kind of considered a safe. I wouldn't put him in my top 4. I still think there's a special place for Harold Miner, and because Ted Ginn went on to have a career, like a solid career. Harold Miner was shit, dude. Like he was a waste. He was a horrible freaking pick. So I got to put Miner there ahead of him. And Sammy Smith, my God, Sammy Smith was a disgrace. He was a better drug kingpin than he was a player. At least Ted Ginn found his way and became, what was he, like a number 3, number 4 wide receiver for the rest of his career? Yeah, right? A complimentary guy. He wasn't a starter, but he was always a number 3, number 4 guy. And he played like 12 years. So that's where was it a good pick for Miami? No, it was a bad pick, but not as bad as those picks. Even the Deion Jordan one's worse than, because none of these guys turned into anything.
And plus, we got the Ginn family. I mean, it came with more than just Ted Ginn.
Yeah. Yeah, Ocala Joe. We got the Ginn family also. So, yeah. Charles Harris. I like that. Even though he did a little some with Detroit a little bit after, but that's a good one. See, that's what I'm looking at. High pick, didn't come through, didn't show up. That one's pretty good. True Fin fan, I missed your super chat. I'm sorry. Where's it at? How about the 99 Heat? Is that the Charlotte? Is that the Allen Houston one? Or is that the Charlotte one that they got eliminated? Which one is that one, True Fin fan? Because, it's 26 years ago, so I'm getting it confused. But I think it's one of those, right? Is it either the Allen Houston or the Charlotte elimination in the first round that was kind of really embarrassing for the Knicks, the Allen Houston one. The dot. Yeah. Yeah, that was bad. That hurt. And thank you, sir, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. You can do the same thing there. But in the super chats, we only get 70%. YouTube takes 30%. That's why we encourage you. You can send the same kind of donations to Cash App or Venmo and put in your comments, questions, insults, all kinds of good stuff, and we always appreciate it. What did you say? Nothing? Okay. Cecil Collins, I like that one, but the problem is it's a 5th rounder. So it belongs nowhere on our list. It was he was a flyer, and it was, if he was a 1st-round pick or something, then yeah. But a 5th rounder is not a bust. It just became kind of a bust because you drafted a criminal, and he went and did criminal stuff. So that's where Jimmy Johnson did more stupid things. Yes, sir.
Joel A. Erickson. He is the Colts insider for the Indy Star.
Ooh.
He says, from the sounds of it,
the
Colts are going to rely heavily
on a run game
on Xavier Howard in Sunday's season opener against his former team, even though Howard hasn't played since 2023. Lock in those bets. At least for touchdowns, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Anytime
Yards,
touchdowns,
for
yards.
sure. Xavier Howard is toast, bro. The only person that thinks he can play is Omar Kelly. That's it. Okay? And maybe some of you out there that actually, believe some of the things that Omar Kelly believes. There's some crazy people out there. So, what can I tell you? I can try to help you all out there, but what are you going to do? So Miami Dolphin fans need this element in a big way. And some of you out there that are Canes fans, you witnessed it on Sunday night. Physicality. Last night you saw it with TCU. Physicality. They were able to punch North Carolina in the mouth and run the ball for 250 yards. The University of Miami, they didn't dominate on the ground, but they did damn well on the ground. Two of their guys got 30 carries, 15 each. And they did very well running the football against a front that's going to have a couple of guys playing on Sunday. That's pretty damn impressive. The question is, when will the Miami Dolphins learn? Because that is the element that is missing from the team, period. Physicality. And if you want to protect your quarterback, whether he's Tom Brady or Dan Marino, you need to run the ball. And when you've got a guy like Tua, who's exactly like those guys, not athletes, they're not going to run the ball. You need to block. You need to run the football. Ollie Gordon has looked fantastic. I hope that you start to get to that physical portion of the game. I don't know if they can do it or not. That is something that we don't know yet. We haven't seen Patrick Paul all the way to Austin Jackson and everybody in between be road graders on a consistent basis week in and week out. We'd all love to see it. I think there's the potential that if you can keep the top guys healthy, you can do it. With the backup guys, I have no hope whatsoever. Okay? Maybe Keon if he can develop a little bit, but I don't really have a lot of hope for a lot of their backups. That'll be a problem. But the starters have enough. The question is, can they do it? They're young, they're inexperienced, they haven't played together. How long will it take? But if you are not physical, if you do not bring this element to the game, they will not get to the playoffs. They will not even be a 500 team. So I'm hoping, and it's an example that you've watched already in the first couple of days here of the college football season. Got to run the ball, man. You got to bring that physical element. If you don't bring that physical element, you see it with the Canes. That's one thing that I love about Mario and why I picked him to go 11-1. There are a couple reasons. One, Mario believes in building the trenches, which I'm a huge fan of that. And two, last year he showed me that he shed some of his conservative ways with his offensive coordinator and his quarterback. So that tells me that he's going to do that with Carson Beck and his offense once they get to that point too, and everybody's comfortable and confident and all that. I think he'll let it fly a little bit more. But in the end, the foundation to everything that the University of Miami will do will be based on that offensive line, that running game, and winning at the line of scrimmage. Mario understands that. Your team goes as far as your offensive line and D line can allow it. Everyone in the periphery, all the skill guys, the quarterbacks, they don't do anything without those fat guys in the middle. And if those guys aren't dominating, and if they're not bringing that physical element, our Dolphins are going nowhere. Another season. Let's see, it's been 45 years that they don't get the idea of playing physical football. And that's what would have given Marino a championship, and that's what will give Tua a shot at a championship. But if you don't get back to playing like you played in the 70s, there's no way you're going to win now in the 2025, 2026 season. All right. What else do we have? Ryan Crow, by the way, on administrative leave. Didn't I tell you guys when that first broke and they put him out right away instead of like saying, oh, we're going to let the investigation and we support Ryan and all that. When they put him immediately on ice, I told you something initially was ugly. Within days, administrative leave. And now Sean Ryan, the senior defensive assistant, is taking over now. That's all you need to know. This is not good for Ryan Crow. That dude ruined his career in one moment where he couldn't control his anger. So, insane, dude. Insane. What else do we have? Big O, where do you put Ryan Tannehill? Like he wasn't like terrible, but like he wasn't supposed to even be drafted at number 8 because I knew he was second round talent. So I'm not going to put it up there because at least he was somewhat serviceable. Whereas Harold Miner and Sammy Smith were not serviceable at all. They were a disgrace. They were a complete waste. They couldn't do anything. At least Ryan could somewhat run an offense. Was never really going to lead you or win, but he could somewhat run it. The problem is that there aren't 32 good quarterbacks every year. There's only a few. So you're going to end up with a bunch of Ryan Tannehills every year. You know what I'm saying? So we've ended up with several of those. But I wouldn't look at him the way I look at Sammy or Deion Jordan. Like these are people that they couldn't contribute at all when they were high picks. Like it was a complete waste. And then with Vinny and Messi, they have all the talent, the teams and everything, and they choke like dogs. Like it's the extreme of the other guys. And so that's why I throw them in there. You know what I'm saying? Dude, you're like doing nothing. Jamar Fletcher, it was at the back end of the draft. Again, if you follow my career, I told everybody you play man on man and you drafted a zone corner. It didn't make any sense, and he ended up in Detroit for a few years. He played like 8 years or 9 in the NFL. The thing is, he played more in a zone system. We played man with Wanstead. So it just, some of these things I was a part of, and I talked about them when it happened. I know I'm a bad guy for saying, hey, Jamar Fletcher's not a good pick because he's a zone guy, not a man-on-man or whatever. This is kind of how it goes. So he can't be on my list when I already had information on him not being a good pick, and it's late in the first round. Sammy Smith was a top 10 pick. That's a whole different ball game. And Harold was 12, but Harold was like considered the second. Nobody ever looked at Jamar Fletcher and said, "Oh, he's a great corner. He's going to be phenomenal." Nobody ever said that in the draft. Nobody. Trust me, I covered it and everything. And I warned everybody, he's a zone guy, not a man-on-man guy. This doesn't make any sense. And they thought they could make him a man-on-man guy. And he just didn't have the reaction, the quickness to be a man-on-man guy. He didn't have the hips either to do it. Anyway, relying heavily on Xavier Howard is music to my ears. Amen, true Fin fan. God, that's going to be awesome. They're going to toast his ass. Finro, Pat White, second round. White's NFL career lasted 13 games. Yeah, terrible, terrible pick. But his second round, so, and again, who picks Pat White? That was a pick that I was like, what are you doing? It's ridiculous. Wildcat, stupid shit. I wasn't a fan of that. See, these are picks that, yeah, they were bad picks, but I kind of thought they were going to be bad already. Mark my words, says Pat in Asheville, the starting O-line will last less than 8 quarters. Truth. Yeah. It's the NFL. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's an injury in the first 2 games. It's the NFL. Yeah. Yeah. I hope not. I hope we're lucky. But yeah. Howdy, how about Billy Milner, number 1 draft pick from 95? He did. Yep. That's great. Both Andrew Green and Billy Milner. Andrew Green was the 2nd round pick. Billy Milner was the first out of Oklahoma. Andrew Green was, didn't you look that up the other day? Billy Milner was Oklahoma. I'm like 99% sure that Billy Milner was Oklahoma. Maybe I'm wrong. And then Andrew Green. God, I want to say like Wisconsin or I forgot. But either way, they were both terrible, bro. Like it was the opposite of Webb and Sims. They drafted Webb and Sims and they plugged them in and they were great. They tried to do the same shit with Billy Milner and Andrew Green. It did not work out, bro. Oh, God. And it's Green with an E at the end, by the way. He played also, Canadian after us. But where was he? Where did he play out of? I forgot now. Yeah, but Billy Milner was a good one. I've told you guys the story. I met Billy Milner. I'm interviewing him. I'm like, okay, I want this guy to run my portfolio. He didn't look to me like a football player at all. When the first day I met Billy Milner in the locker room and I interviewed him, I was like, this isn't a football player, bro. This is an executive. This guy should be running your corporation. This guy should be your accountant. This guy, like when you talk to Billy Milner, you're like, whoa, bro, you're too cerebral. No, dude. You should be running the country or something. I don't know what the hell Billy Milner turned into, but I bet you he's pretty successful. Something tells me, huh? Indiana for Green? There you go. I said Wisconsin, white, the red and white. It was kind of the same. Okay. I think Billy Milner pretty good. What was Oklahoma? Smart dude, bro. Impressive man. Okay. Oh, Houston? There you go. I was wrong. After Southwest Mississippi Community College. Nice. Billy Milner was that's a good bust pick right there. Good one. I just got to give it a Sammy because, it's the fumbles into the end zone against the Oilers. There were just so many moments that Sammy added to the aura of being terrible. So, but that's a good one. I like that one. Only 1 first-round pick got sent to prison for selling a pound of cocaine. Who was that? Fill me in, Pat. Now I'm forgetting. Yeah. No foundation, and some fans been saying Super Bowl or bust for years. Oh, Don Reese. Wow. Holy shit, dude. Wow. You pulled that one out of nowhere. That was good. It was very good. All right. By the way, little crypto for you, and we thank the folks at R&M Contractors, Ray and Mike. They do great work as always. And we are going back up now. Okay. Hard day so far. I think the market's been kind of struggling as Joe Namath would say. The Dow is down 249 points. The S&P is down 44 points. And the NASDAQ is down just over a point. But Bitcoin is up a little. It's at 111,317 after hanging around 108 and 109 for several days. It's up 2%. And Michael Saylor, by the way, from Strategy, bought 4,048 Bitcoin for $449 million. I'm sorry, $449 million. And 110,981 per coin. They now own 636,505 Bitcoin for a total of $46.95 billion at an average of $73,765 per coin. Do not give up, okay? And this is about to pop. They're going to be cutting rates in the middle of this month, although I think that's already been baked in, the quarter point cut. I don't think it'll move the markets that much when it's all said and done. September, there might be some, let's just call it some choppiness, okay? But eventually, we're going to start to pop and we're going to start heading upwards. It could happen in this month. Normally, this is kind of like a month that there is kind of negativity at times, or maybe you just stay kind of, going sideways pretty much, overall. But you've got laws changing now in the government with the Genius bill coming in, everything going on with stable coins. Bitcoin reserves are exploding all over the place. Yesterday, the meeting with China, Russia, and India it's not going to be good for the United States. And they're going to find ways of buying and selling with each other any kind of goods, and they're not going to be using the US dollar. Eventually, Bitcoin will be a part of it. And when it does, I'm just telling you, it's all said and done. Anyway, that is your Crypto Corner. And we thank, of course, the folks at R&M Contractors. Call Ray or Mike if you live in Dade or Broward County, home or condo, by the way, because a lot of people need waterproofing for their terrace and balcony and all that. Complete remodel, kitchen upgrades with appliances. They do it all. Call them 305-345-3649. And if you want to see the exceptional work firsthand, go to the IG page, RMC Fisher Island. That's RMC Fisher Island. Check it out. All right, folks, we are out of here. We thank, of course, the great Steve Calabro. We thank Mr. Brunetti. We thank, of course, Sean Stanley. We appreciate all of you for tuning in. If you hit the like button, thank you. If you haven't, please, on your way out, hit the like button. It gets the algorithms going. We appreciate it immensely. As always, we will see you all tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.